Do it live. It's not how I wanted to do it back in the day, because how I wanted to do it back in the day would have looked better, but... yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We should hopefully start appearing on here shortly. That was a lie.
We're half hour late.
Oh, something's happening.
It's not how I wanted to do it back in the day.
Hey, there we go. So, this time I'm going to... what I'm going to do this time is, rather than trust Restream's chat... Gone, Doc. Doc! The side of the screen. Doc! Oh, hold it then a second. This ain't
Dude,
going
what
well.
processor is this laptop running? A fucking sandwich?
Intel Pentium 133.
Clearly.
Come on. Doc with the side of the screen. You can do it, Windows.
Can you not just push the Windows key and the cursor?
I was trying to do the posh way. This ain't working.
Posh way, using the mouse.
This hasn't worked. Oh well, it's fine. Now it wants to go
Haven't
big.
you got 2 pop-out chats for...
Yeah, but last time it didn't work. Last time it didn't relay any of the messages.
No, I mean individual channel pop-out chats. So if you click the chat, there should be like a...
That's a good shout, yeah.
And you have a pop-out window rather than...
Oh, I don't know. I can't be asked. I'm just going to switch. There we are. Alt tab. We'll alt tab it. We'll just alt tab occasionally, and we'll probably eventually catch. Yeah, we'll eventually catch the viewers. Anyway, good evening on the SuffolkRam.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 97 of the Man Nerds podcast.
We're down one again.
We are. Middlemeister.
He's dead.
Yeah, he said to me, "I've got a headache. I think it's your fault for leaving me a full shift at work."
Yep. And so I hit him around the back of the head with a shovel.
Yeah.
And then we took him to the grave digging competition again.
Yeah. So
He
sadly,
questioned how good we were at it.
and then we dug 2 graves. One for Middlemeister, one for Bard.
Yep. And yet again, we are likely to win. I'm just saying. I mean, I was pretty proud of it.
I'm always proud of our grave digging abilities.
Set squared.
well, obviously we've now moved on to the later planning and so forth. Let's just get it just right.
We're getting high tech.
Yeah,
We're going to end up with a, you know, the old the water jets. You just put it on a frame and it just sprays down. Just like cut it out and then we just remove the excess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now what we do is you have 4 big, long sheets of metal which are sharpened, and you sort of put it down like a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And then you have to sort of, then what you have to do is dig a second grave next to it so you can slide one underneath it, and then you lift the whole thing out, then you chuck the body, and then you just drop it straight back on it again.
And there you go. Job done.
It's easy as that. What?
And now they know our secret.
Yeah, they do. I was wondering, because obviously a coffin's quite big, I know you get a bit of a bump after you put a grave down, but they must have removed some excess soil unless they really have ram it down hard.
Yeah.
So presumably every graveyard's just got, that must be where they all these, like, you know, people like witches and stuff, and they do their spellcasting and get the graveyard soil from. There's obviously an excess.
Ta-da! There you know.
It makes sense. Yeah, they obviously set it on the side.
You basically just got to contact the local witching community and say, look, is that accurate?
Where can I source some, you know, Eye of Newt? So apparently, so I was listening to another podcast. They said, actual fact,
Another podcast?
I know.
You're cheating on us, are you?
yes, but this one's not a gaming related podcast. It's safe. They were saying that actual fact they think now that there's in sort of the witches groups, they use a lot of like code words and so forth.
Yeah, makes
so
sense.
Eye of Newt wasn't literally an Eye of Newt. It meant something else, like I don't know,
those
charcoal.
All those like those sort of flowers that like snake heads and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. So all these sort of funny names are actually just code words.
Yeah.
But people sort of took it literally over time, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, in the grand scheme of things, if you didn't know, then you would just instantly assume that it's something that you do know, and you know,
which makes a lot of sense.
Like when you know, you have like various slangs in different parts of the country, and you're like, what the fuck did you just call me? I was like, oh no, that means this.
Which is a great power if you meet some people from not part of your part of the country. You can just tell them whatever you like.
Just to annoy strangers, that's what them slangs are for.
Yeah. Oh man, you're a real fuckface. I'm so, pardon? Well, fuckface, mate, it means you're great. Yeah, that's what it means. That's what everybody says around here. Oh, well, you're fuckface too. I know I am. Thanks very much. That's very kind to say. And you just know that off, and he's in them off go, and off they were, and you know at some point they're going to call someone a fuckface. That's going to be great.
Yep. You're an evil bastard, aren't you?
Well, you've got to have fun every now and again somehow, haven't you?
Yeah, the darkest of fun.
Yeah.
Causing somebody else harm.
I mean, when I see the news reports, some poor sod's been beaten up and sort of left in a bloody pulp for assaulting like some gang members, I do feel a small twinge of guilt, but it soon goes away.
You feel a
And
small
if it doesn't,
twinge of
and
guilt,
if it doesn't,
lying bastard.
if it doesn't go away, I find rum fixes that problem. Quite.
You drown the guilt fairies, do you?
Yes, every night.
Good.
It's there I can stop the screaming. Every night when I go to bed, I just if I don't go to bed half drunk, it's just screaming all night long.
You spent a couple of hours on 4chan on the boards. Is that what it's like?
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have moved next to that torture chamber. You know, it was the rate was so reasonable.
You shouldn't have rented out that basement to the dominatrix.
Yeah. She gave me a discount though.
Wow.
You know, swings and roundabouts.
I know. Well, I understand. You know, but sometimes, Nick, a good night's sleep.
It's worth every penny.
I was gonna say I haven't had a good night's sleep in over 10 fucking years.
I'll get you some rum.
I can drown.
You can drown the laughing out.
Oh,
Ha 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 ha.
It's like, what happened to him? Oh, he's dead. Why? He drank himself to death.
I should check it, so I actually thought, I didn't know if I never started that recording or not yet. I have.
We've been doing this for how many years and we're still having to do these random checks?
It's paranoia. That is a sign of a good person who does checks things.
Who does checks things?
He does checks things.
Checks
you know,
things.
in Japan they have this policy of whenever they go past on like a transfer sign, they point at it and read it out, and that's just sort. And they find that helps if they like to remember stuff and actually do stuff. And also when they do like any like, they will actually state what they're going to do. If they do, like when they say want to do an operation, type say I don't know whatever you do on trains to make them go, like decrystallize the lithium matrix and like insert like the coal into the hadron reactor and decouple the main brake systems and squish the passengers in and activate the neutron rockets, that sort of stuff. I'm assuming that's how it works on trains.
Of course.
They literally will they'll actually point and say, I'm now going to switch on the main switch and then do it, and they find by doing that they're less likely to make mistakes.
Well, yeah, for sure, because you've got it's pre-planned. As you say, like, oh, hang on a minute, that doesn't sound right. That's not what comes after. So, like, almost like a nursery rhyme. Like when you try and spell because, as weird as it sounds, when we were taught how to spell because in school, because they said that loads of people were misspelling because, it's big elephants can't always use small exits.
That's
but
it. Yes, I remember that.
But we remember that, but we can't spell because. So when you say that, we get it right. If you don't say it, we were fucking it up.
It's like, whenever you, I always find, even now, if I'm organising something alphabetically, I will mentally go for the alphabet, but I'll sing, like in my head, I'll sing it through.
Yeah.
I won't just go A, B, C. I'll do the A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, give it a little beat to it, so then, if you go off.
W, X, Y, and Z, Z. That's because I grew up watching Sesame Street, and it really threw me.
Yeah, goddamn Sesame Street.
So I was as a kid. I thought, why is C at the end? You've got C after a B. Why is the alphabet got 2 C's in it? That really threw me.
Fucking Big Bird.
Yeah, big old Big Bird. I think he died at some point. I can't remember if that's true or not.
The Count's dead.
What, did he get staked?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Poor Count.
Yeah, I think Big Bird. I vaguely think he's dead. I've not kept up with the
well, I was going to say, look,
with the latest dramas of that fine soap opera that is Sesame Street.
In the grand scheme, you've got to think Sesame Street is probably one of the most hardcore reality TV shows ever. All these people, I know like Friends and that, like that's a sitcom, isn't it? But it's that bizarre crossover. Sesame Street does all of it.
Yeah, no, Sesame Street it's an amazing series.
It's reality TV.
They are. I mean, it's
spliced in with a bit of a sitcom here and there.
Yeah.
And then you got a bit of the news.
Yeah.
Current events.
Yeah, they're really all for that.
Like everything. Sesame Street is everything mushed in. If you ever want to see what the world's greatest television should be,
Sesame Street.
Exactly. I'm just telling you, that is prime viewing right there. And anyone disagrees with me, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're just wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't explain that very well, but trust me, it's the best of everything.
Yeah,
I don't need to explain it.
I'm slightly ashamed that I've not kept up with all the latest canon.
Yeah.
That is in Sesame Street. You know, I mean, I don't know if Oscar the Grouch is still in it. You know, he might be gone.
I bloody hope so. How dare if you can't have the Grouch?
But well, Cookie Monster's probably got diabetes by now.
Can't have, man. He's Cookie Monster.
Bert and Ernie. I don't know if they're still in it.
I reckon there's probably been some kind of outrage over Bert and Ernie over the years.
They have. They got a complaint because they used to sleep in the same bed. And people complain that was sort of promoting homosexual ideas, and they apparently were saying, well, then they're
all the children are going to be gay. It's like
no, apparently the response was Muppets don't have a sex.
Yeah, makes sense.
Therefore they can't be straight or gay.
They are Muppets.
Yeah.
How dare you tie a gender to a Muppet, you bastards?
Yes.
Anyway,
other than that, it's all good. So, anyway, shall we start actually the podcast? Now we're discussing Sesame Street. This is going to go on the list of things I did not expect we'll be discussing.
It's always the way. It's always the way.
This is what our listenership comes back for, is the random things we discuss.
Well, that's it, and then you decide to cut them out and wonder why the audience drops off.
Mate, that was over an hour and 10 minutes long we discussed the British school system. It's like, this really has got to get removed.
But most people don't know why it's shit. Goes on a rant about why the British
don't make me edit it again. I've edited it once already.
I had to click the cut button. I had to click the scissor.
No, I do some proper editing. I had to find a moment where it sounded naturally. Because I had to basically then get to the end.
Oh my god, you actually did some editing.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Because I had to go to the end and find where we say goodbye. Because obviously we didn't say that before. So I had to cut that bit out and then somehow find a way to merge that in so you can't tell the bit I deleted. Then I felt guilty, so I put a bit at the front, a pre-recorded bit at the front where I said, guys, I've edited a lot of stuff out of this. If you want to watch it, go on the channel.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Giving yourself extra work, mate. Learn.
I know.
So you haven't been playing any games, you've been editing.
Yes.
So you've now learned to just edit instead of...
That took me all of 10 minutes.
How could you?
That's a lot of work to do that. That's not counting rendering time either.
Oh dear. Wait, did we count a rendering time for anything these days?
Well, it took about 15 seconds to render out the audio file.
Yeah, I'd feel quite bad about that. I mean, you could have been using them cycles on something else, like watching Sesame Street.
I did. That's why I've got 2 monitors. I have
that's why it took 15 seconds.
Classic Sesame Street on one monitor. You know, I always find that it's a good combination. It's like, wine and cheese. They don't sometimes go together, but Sesame Street tied with editing programs / gory first-person shooters go together really well.
I'd imagine.
So you know when it gets a bit too much and you sort of like perhaps Alien Isolation, for example, when you've been killed the first time, you just sort of turn around and go, they're dancing a song about cookies.
Yeah, that's it. You see Cookie Monster, like you not got the game audio on. You just listen to Cookie Monster chow down on like his 5th cookie in the last couple minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes. Cookie Monster must be on a diet.
So if he's got diabetes, that would actually be a very simple to do, to have him get diabetes and die of old age. Yeah. He's not actually allowed to eat cookies on set. But actually roast cakes, because cookies are too messy for the Muppet. Obviously he is real.
Of course.
He's not, although I call him Muppet, he's not actually a puppet, he's a real thing.
Of course.
Of course.
Don't ruin people's little worlds, man. Big
Bird is not a man in a suit.
No, that's a big bird.
Elmo's gone, isn't he? Because his puppeteer, of course he's real, but his puppeteer got done for, I think, child abuse or something.
Really?
I think it was Elmo's puppeteer got done, and I mean I can't remember if he got found guilty or whether all sort of violent he wasn't true at the end. I can't remember, so I might be slandering right now. But I definitely remember, I'm sure at some point he got arrested for like sort of child pornography or child abuse or something.
Damn. Poor Elmo.
But well, he did spend a lot of time up his hands up Papa's bottoms.
You have
to have a certain mentality to do that, haven't you?
Poor Elmo.
Anyway, so what have you been playing this week?
Right, well, we've only just gone off the tail end of the summer holiday, so I haven't really had a huge chance to play much of anything. So
you're playing, yay, the kids aren't here anymore.
Yeah, well, as soon as the kids went back to school, I got sick.
That sounds about right.
So, so I didn't really. I was like, oh, I want to play a game. I was like laying there throwing up all over myself.
What game can I play that doesn't require me staring at the screen for more than a minute?
Well, there you go. Because I play a load of JRPGs and stuff, that requires me to look at the screen and read. It's like, oh, I don't want to be engaged. I just want to press buttons and win.
There's probably a market for a game that is an audio game. Right, so it's connected to a controller. You can connect to like an Xbox or something, and it's like you walk down a hill, you see Elmo being molested by the Cookie Monster. Press X to intervene, or Y to sleep in the bushes and watch with a camera.
It's funny you say that. Actually, there was one of the first games I ever played on iPhone, which I thought was an absolutely brilliant idea. It was using stereo audio to tell a story, and based on how you wanted to react to the scenario it had played out for you, you would tap on different points of the screen. So puzzles would be like, oh, it's an audio puzzle, and like, so let's say I had 5 different notes. Each section of the screen would be separated into a different note, and then you'd have to, you know, tap them in a certain order, or respond to certain puzzles just by tapping different parts of the screen. There was nothing else. It was just literally like, oh, that one, oh, yeah, that one, and then it would tell the story and unfold. And then, I mean, they would last.
Sort of choose your own adventure type.
Yeah,
thing.
basically, yeah. But like, it was a choose your own adventure audiobook style thing. It was really, really good. I can't remember what it was called, like Soul Trap or something.
I could see a market for a game which is like you can just sit. So if you like, sort of, if you are feeling ill, but you could put a pair of headphones on and just have one hand on a controller, and you don't have to actually look at anything. Just let told the story.
Can I just throw out there? They were brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. That was one of the first games I played on an iPhone. I don't think they ever made it to Android or any other platforms, but I thought that was a very, very good use of. Because at the time, I mean, no one wanted to play an actual game on a phone because controls were crap, and because the iPhones were ridiculously weak. But then you've got to think this was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
was that an iPhone 3G?
Yes. Yeah. So they'd literally only just allowed installing apps on the device, but it was very clever, I thought, at least. But yeah. I have been playing a game. I only started playing it a couple of days ago. I've mentioned it before, and its series. I showed you a copy a while ago on PlayStation 4.
Yes, you did, yeah. I said, that looks fucking weird. It looks just up your street.
Yep. So the game I'm going to be talking about is it's on the PlayStation 4, but I'm playing it on the PC because my PS4 is dead. It was the package that came through the post that didn't have any wrapping on it at all other than its shrink wrap. And the postman just hands it to me as if to say, yep, I fucking thought you were a crazy motherfucker. I was like, thank you.
Oh, I knew you were a pervert.
Yeah. It was amazing. Senran Kagura, Peach Beach Splash, the entire cover of this big old box.
Is that the hentai edition?
No, there is no H. Well, kind of. In Peach Beach Splash. It's, what was it? It was like roughly the size of an A4 or A3 sheet. A4 sheet. And it was literally just anime bikini models. So, in fairness, Senran Kagura started out on the 3DS, Nintendo, and the graphic for it was a ninja scroll stuck in a cleavage. And so because you got to think this is family-friendly Nintendo, to have something like that on a Nintendo console was a bit, fucking hell.
Yeah, but family-friendly, that's not such a big taboo in Japan, is it? So that would be sort of family-friendly. It's not such a big taboo.
Well, no, but it wouldn't. You wouldn't normally see that kind of thing over here.
No.
But either way, really good series actually for beat 'em ups, because beat 'em ups as a genre that's died over the years. Anyway, the Senran Kagura series is usually a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up or a third-person Dynasty Warriors-esque kill everything that moves on the screen brawler. featuring high school of ninja girls.
Right.
And then as you would beat the shit out of your opponent, their clothes would rip depending on how hard you'd hit them. So I've played many a game like this. So, some of the Neptunia games had that mechanic. Senran Kagura, Valkyrie Drive, other games like that. Anyway, Peach Beach Splash is the same kind of groove, and I nicknamed it Splatoon with boobs.
Okay.
So Splatoon being a third-person shooter where you win by covering the ground in your own team's ink. None of that in Senran Kagura. We were just calling it Splatoon with boobs because it was ninja chicks running around with water pistols in bikinis. The idea is that the ninja girls of the 3 or 4 ninja high schools of Japan have been teleported to the Peach Beach Splash tournament, where they are tasked to run around and shoot each other with super soakers, and that is it. That's it!
Right.
The story is that whichever team wins the Peach Beach Splash tournament gets to ask for what the fuck ever they want. That's it. That is the motivation. That's as far as I've got with the story.
And so this is still a Dynasty Wars style fighter, or was that?
It's a third-person shooter of sorts.
Right.
So, well, that's the weird thing, because it does have a lot of very old-school kind of Senran Kagura elements, because you've got your main character, which is this ridiculously overpowered character. You might have one other incredibly overpowered character on the other team, and then the other team would like swamp you with cannon fodder enemies that you just slap and they die and explode and launch across the screen. Same kind of thing in Peach Beach Splash, except they can send waves and waves and waves of these enemies that are really stupid, that kind of fire and miss. They're like stormtroopers. And you just stand there and just fucking mow them down and they're all gone.
Yeah.
You no skill at all. You're just running at them going, and then they all die.
Have you seen the GIF? Because the new Spider-Man game got released.
I heard they were making one.
So it's been released,
right,
and everyone's gone mad over it. And it looks quite pretty. There's a video up of where he was dealing with some criminal gangs. He got to the last one, he thought that local law enforcement take him out, so he just stopped and just watched them. And she's just giving all the police surrounding this guy, and they're all firing their guns and missing. And he's just firing back and missing, and it just goes on, and they just keep missing constantly. So it's obviously programmed so they're meant to fire close, but not quite get him, so you can take him out.
Sure.
So they just keep missing.
It's to make it look.
There's people. There's the very thing is, there's also like other NPCs that were sort of watching. It's like, oh, let's go watch this police shoot over here.
Look at this show. Pew pew pew. Fucking funny if the regular civvies start getting hit with the crossfire.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's what I'm thinking now when you say they can't miss.
And they seriously they wouldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. I mean, if they were on board the Titanic, somehow they would levitate.
Oh dear.
So but
can you do things like can you upgrade your Super Soaker or?
No. So each character of the school has a different type of say Super Soaker. So like you have like the shotgunny one and like the sniper rifle-y one and.
What's that? A pressure washer? Pretty
much, yeah. It's really weird. I don't quite understand how. Look, I've played through one of the school's story arcs. There's 4 different schools with different characters from the schools. Each have different weapons and stuff like that. I've played through one of the story arcs. I've got no fucking idea how to play this game.
Please tell me there's a water cannon in it.
There is a water minigun in it.
Isn't that basically a water cannon?
Well, I suppose, but it looks like a minigun.
Because let's be honest, if you had a water cannon, you just will. Not only will you not get took out, then they're getting near you.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. It also has like a almost like a jetpack powered by water. So you end up with water tanks for your gun, but that also affects the jetpack, which is tied to your jump and sprint ability.
That's an interesting actual mechanic. The idea like you've got one resource that powers all your abilities.
Yeah.
Effectively. So you've got to balance it. You want to be highly manoeuvrable, but wasting all your ammunition. Or
yeah, because then you could get into the firefight, but then you can't actually do a hell of a lot of damage because you've wasted it getting to it or manoeuvring into a different.
How do you replenish your water?
Literally, you can just press and hold a reload button, and they repump the pressure of the Super Soaker. So it's just like the idea. It's unlimited ammo, but then you have to open yourself up to fire. by pumping the.
So there's no actual water use in it at all. It's just press it before it drops.
Yeah, yeah, basically. So you've got unlimited ammo, but
so basically it's Metro 2033. Is what you're saying here?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
That makes
With
sense.
bikini ninjas. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though I've played it for about 2 or 3 hours, I've got no fucking idea what's going on. When I started the game, and I like Senran Kagura games because generally the story's all right, but this one I just don't understand what the hell's going on. The tutorial, you go into the main menu as you start the game, and it says, okay, you can go play 1-player mode, 2-player mode, various other things, and then tutorial. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll go into the tutorial. You can go to the arena bit and practice shooting and things. Okay, cool. Now can I go to tutorial 1, please? Nope. Nope, it's not working. I'm pressing the button and it's not work. I can't select the tutorial.
Oh, good.
So I went back into the arena and I cleared the arena out and I went to go do it again. And so I was like, well, maybe I have to clear the arena or something before it let me do the tutorial. No.
Yeah, please complete half the game, then we'll let you do the tutorial.
I had to actually start the single player campaign before it would unlock the tutorial. So
That's an interesting design choice.
Yes, it was a weird one. But it didn't explain any of the card system. There's a card system with it, so you can build a deck per character, and they will give you certain buffs, debuffs for enemy units, special like shots. So like there's one that the only one that I've really been able to figure out what it does is like it would like fire 10 pink homing missiles across the screen to hit your opponent. I don't know what these cards do.
So when you say minigame, is it like you have the cards equipped?
No, so you have like a hand drawn at the start of the match, and then as you use them, it will then go to the next one in like the pile.
Okay, can you control how they are set up in the pile?
No, you can. So basically, it will just give you 3. Like let's say you've got a hand of 10 that you assigned to that character at the start. It will just go 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, you used that one that you didn't really like, or one that you really like, and then it will just shuffle in another one.
As my poltergeist.
Yeah, they don't like the fact that I'm talking about Senran Kagura. But it's weird. I don't understand what any of the cards do. It's not really giving me much of an explanation about it. I guess if I went into the deck building menu, it would tell me, but there is nothing completely obvious when looking at the cards what they actually do. I mean, there's all kinds of fancy icons on them, but what does any of that mean if I haven't got a key to tell me what they do? And those aren't featured in the tutorial.
Good.
So I was a bit
So it's well designed, this game.
Yes, it's really fun, really fun. Even though like levels could only be like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and the story is bizarre as bollocks. Really over the top live game show.
So what you're saying is Japanese.
Yes, it's amazing. Honestly, it's a hard one to explain. But it's really fun.
Many years ago, we coined the phrase, it went a little bit Japanese. And this game sounds quite a bit Japanese.
Yeah, this went beyond 11.
Wow.
But, character designs are good. Graphics are pretty good. The PC build's a bit jank, at least on my machine. So when they start, they've got like their little ninja card that they throw up, which then turns into their weapon. As they throw it and it bursts into a puddle of water, or a spray of water to become the gun, all of a sudden the frame rate drops to like 5 FPS. Then as soon as they've got hold of the gun again, back to full speed as the match starts. That's the one thing I've seen tank frame rate every single time, and I don't know why. No matter what setting I have it on, it will always do that. PC version does at least run at 60 FPS, whereas the console version apparently ran at 30, if you were lucky. But it's fun. It's a third-person, almost arena goofy shooter with tons of cannon fodder enemies that mean jack shit. A really goofy story about friendship and tits. And
very Japanese then.
Yes, it's fun.
Awesome. Well, I play a couple games.
Have you? Please tell me you can explain them better than I can.
Well, I can.
Was the other one really Japanese?
One was a little bit Japanese. I mean, this was not a Japanese made game, but it felt a bit Japanese. So I've been playing. The first game is Orwell, Ignorance is Strength.
Oh yeah,
The sequel to All.
Yeah. Is it set after the events?
Concurrent.
Oh.
Yes, that's what I found. So as you're playing it, things that happened in the first Orwell will happen, and you'll get the same news articles appear.
Mm-hmm. So should we explain what Orwell is? Even though we've gone into great detail about what Orwell in the past.
But some new might not hear.
I'm glad you played this, because I mean, literally I pulled Senran Kagura out of my ass. I only started playing it yesterday.
It's fine. So Orwell, it's almost like a simulator. Is probably a better way to describe it. You are basically take the role of a investigator, and the way it works is you work for the government, and your job is you're basically working at GCHQ.
Yeah.
And your job is basically they'll say, right, there's this person. They've said this that seems a bit dodgy. We want you to investigate and see if you can track down and find information on them. So,
as an example, in the first Orwell, there was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And there was only using the surveillance systems in the area that the terrorist attack took place. They managed to tag someone that had a criminal record, and through that, you were able to search through our phone records, our emails, our websites, and that. By gathering pieces of metadata, you were then able to uncover almost a terrorist cell.
But it's not like total Big Brother, because you have to have a legal reason to go after them. So you could start looking at the first one you encounter. You're fine to look at her because she's got a criminal background, so she's a person of interest.
Yeah.
But anyone linked to her, you can't. You can gather rough information, but you can't properly investigate.
You can't probe into them or hack their emails.
Because they're not until they get flagged. They decide. So you're paired up with somebody else, who's like who's the advisor, and they only see the information you send across to them via Orwell. So you have all the big data.
Context is king.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, say me and you're discussing what should we have for tea tonight. Well, I could really murder a Chinese.
And then they take murder as the key word.
And murder a Chinese, and they strip it out and put it across, and all of a sudden, well, he's about to commit a hate crime.
Yeah.
They don't have the
context isn't there.
So your job is to find the relevant information and pass it over to them. This is how the system was deliberately set up, to try and sort of basically make sure that people, it's sort of like get rid of the bias. You pass across relevant information, and they look at it and basically then decide, and they might say, okay, well,
you build the narrative around the person.
Yeah.
You shape what kind of person they are.
And you'll come across information at times where there's two conflicting bits of information, and it'll flag up saying there's information elsewhere that conflicts with this information. So perhaps two characters will have different versions of events. Yeah. And you've got to try and work out, if you're looking at other stuff, to try and work out which version's true. Yeah. Or perhaps in some cases go by your gut feeling. Yeah. It will tell you if there's conflict. What it won't do is, if you haven't discovered the other conflict, it won't unlock that straight away. You have to unlock it. So you might say, oh, I said it's got conflict with information, but because you haven't unlocked it yet, you can't see what the conflict is yet. Yeah. So it's sort of just keep digging. One change to the previous game, in the old Orwell, the game advanced by how you unlock, how far you got for your investigation. In this one, every time you upload data to Orwell, 10 minutes go past.
Ooh,
so
that's dangerous.
Yeah, so you can't just upload anything, which is an interesting twist and mechanic. In reality, you will find that you will be able to upload pretty much everything in the time slot. But things happen as it goes on. So characters will, like, for example, there's a bit where, so basically the first Orwell was about thwarting a terrorist attack. This one is riffing on the idea of fake news. Sure. And how people can be influenced and so forth.
Which is actually also part of the first Orwell, and you find that you can really heavily manipulate some of the people in the terrorist cell just by planting information, because then they will start to get paranoid as things start to change around them based on the information you've given to the...
Yeah, but in this one, you can create evidence and put it into the wider world. Sure. So it's other features added, which ironically only happens in chapter 3, and it's a 3-chapter game. You find out the third feature is called the influencer. Right. And so basically, you'll have to try and create fake news, or you'll try and create a counter narrative based on information you search. So perhaps someone will put a story about there's this guy and they want to discredit him, say, and you may go look at his history, and you'll basically try and make like a clickbaity headline which is going to discredit him, and then you'll basically feed into this machine, and then you'll deliberately spread it via their version of Twitter, which I think it's called Blabber. And it'll spread out through the network of social media, and you'll get like the response back. And you'll see how his followers go up and down. So it's all about sort of that's all its idea behind it. What you're investigating this time? So the first one was a terrorist group. This time you start off and basically there's this man who's threatened this other guy.
Yeah.
And if you remember the first game, you were at their country was like linked to another country.
Yeah, next door.
Yeah, next door. And basically, these two people both come from that country. And
right, okay. So it's literally shifted over to.
Well, they've moved to your country.
Oh right. Okay.
So they're like sort of when their country went to have its civil war, they're like sort of refugees.
Oh okay. Sure.
They've come over, but one's gone very
so
anti-government.
They're kind of riffing on.
Yeah.
Curtains. Yeah.
One of them is very anti-government, and he's like the world's watching, and he's very charismatic, and he's sort of built a following of people around him and so forth. And you're basically the whole game revolves around him, and you have to investigate his past and try and work out the truth of what happened, what led him to where he is, and look through all these like old Facebook or was it equivalent Facebook? I can't remember what it's called on this one. Life Hacker, I think it's called. And basically piece together their history. It isn't as an in-depth a storyline. First Orwell was really in-depth, and it took about 5 chapters to go through.
I loved the first Orwell story.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
It's very well written. It's still got the same good writing in this one. It's still well written, but it wraps up in 3 episodes. The trouble is, it feels like you're getting going, episode 2, and then it ends. It comes to a very abrupt conclusion. Whether they couldn't stretch the story out, and I suppose there's an argument to be made: would you rather have it short but a good story than have it stretched to 5 chapters, adding fluff to make it last longer?
Yeah.
And so I'd probably I'd rather have it short but good, than long but big. But it did feel very abrupt. Good, because it's been quite a while since the first one. And not the system itself, apart from the time difference, and apart from this last influence, which is you only get the 3rd chapter, which is very late to the game. Which, apart from that, it has the basic idea system hasn't changed. It still looks basically the same. You still upload there, so everything looks the same interface, which is nice because it has a bit of continuity. It doesn't, but it feels like you want to say, why has this took you like 2 years to make this?
Yeah.
You know what's took you so long? This is something you could probably turn around in 6 months.
I think even the soundtrack was very.
It was a lovely game. It's definitely a game you can sit down, you can play.
I loved that game. So I played Orwell when I made my transition to Linux gaming, don't I?
Yeah.
I remember. Really, really, really fun. Really enjoyed it. I liked the music. I liked the characters. The art style was goofy but cool. The game was quite unique for the time too, because there was no real animation, no real. Yeah. I mean, it was literally. You were sat at a desk, you were an investigator. They made out that you as a person were the investigator. You had to log into Orwell, and you basically got the GUI for Orwell in front of you.
That's like in some ways a simulator.
Yeah.
You are using it, and it feels like a piece of software.
Yeah.
I could believe this software exists.
Yes.
Maybe some of the things it does is probably a bit out of its remit, but I could believe the idea of software that's searching through. It's basically an advanced search engine that's searching through shifting data, trying to find links to people and so forth. I could believe that software generally could exist.
Yep.
It would surprise me if I went to GCHQ tomorrow, which I can't because I'm not employed there, or I could, but I'd get arrested. And they have something similar to Orwell. Well, I could believe that existing. And you do feel like you are uncovering information and stuff. And when you do when you work something out, not through being told blatantly to you, but because you've been clever enough to uncover the clues and the links and so forth, and how people post and the rest of sent to each other. That's wow, that's amazing. This other thing, this game's now got voice acting in it.
Oh.
So when you get telephone conversations, you can listen into them, and you're listening to them actually talking to each other.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
How's the voice acting?
Pretty darn good.
Okay, cool.
There's not many characters, so I suppose they can afford to have better people. If you ain't got many characters, you can afford to have decent voice acting. It's weird that the advisor isn't voice acted.
Oh, right.
She's not voice acted, but every other character is, all the other characters are all voice acted, which is quite cool. And it links in a little bit with the first Orwell. Not heavily, but there's a few bits of crossover. It's like where someone works in this game, one of the characters in the first or happened to work there previously as well.
Oh yeah, sure.
There's like a psychiatrist, and she knew some of the people from the first game. It's really nice, well linked together. Actually, it fits in nicely. It just, I suppose, I was a little bit. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, sure.
That was that was sort of like the sight.
You were really kind of getting into it, and you sunk your teeth into it, and then they ripped the world out from under you, and you're like, oh, but I wanted more. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the first one, I played it in one session. I just sat down. I didn't want to stop playing it. I think I played it over the course of a couple of days.
I mean, I literally sat up for whole days playing Orwell.
How long did Orwell 2 take?
I was trying to think this out. I think it took me between.
I think Orwell 1 was about 6 hours, wasn't it?
So I think this is probably sort of 6 to 8 hours sounds about right. This one I would say probably 4.5.
No, that's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, it wasn't. I started sort of like. After. As it's a great game. It's a great game. You just want to have a game, which all you need is a mouse.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a glass of wine in one hand and a mouse in another, you can get drunk and get the wrong information sent across.
I can't remember what was going on with me at the time. I think I might have actually been on sleeping medication or something, because I was fucking still over the place at one point. I was like, oh shit, I've just kind of got that person into a lot of trouble. I better find something to get them.
Well, you can get people, I think the first one, you can actually get people killed if you're not careful. If you get the wrong information across.
You can make people properly paranoid in that game as well, because like all of a sudden some of them start to click that they might be
monitored.
Yeah. Or hang on a minute. I was arrested for like no reason. How the hell did they find out about that? And they're like, oh shit, I said that over a text message, and then the paranoia starts to sink in.
Yeah, you really feel like getting into these people's lives and so forth. Which you don't feel quite so much in this game. You don't feel like you sort of get into the lives, you sort of learn a bit about them, but you don't really feel there's not quite sort of the interweb connections. Fewer characters, it's not quite the same web of connections in it. There's only probably 4 main characters in it, whereas I think the first one had quite a few. You had to sort of lock together.
I mean, you had like maybe 5 or 6 main characters and a few sub characters after that.
But in characters total, like and it's got some. You have to. There's the time pace. There's bits where you are against the clock. Like okay, so we know so and so's going to do this. You need to find something to sort of allow us to move against him before that. So go for it. You're against the clock here, and every decision you make counts, and that's all adds a bit of. Do I want to put that information across? Is that really relevant? But that could change how things play out if I don't put it across. So it's neat. If you like the first Orwell, you're gonna like this one.
I loved the first Orwell.
Absolutely
loved it.
Then you'll like this one.
It really played on paranoia, though. It made you kind of look at your smartphone and think, oh
yeah.
Or your browsing history. It's like everything that happens in Orwell is really quite possible.
Yeah, they are clever enough that it'd be very easy for someone writing a game like other people with the game like Orwell to make the state totally totalitarian. That's the one. And then the system has full access to everybody and so forth. But you feel that, actual fact, no, this feels like a functioning government. You can't just do whatever you feel like. You have got to. Okay, no, you can't look at that person.
You can bend the rules, but you can't break them.
Yeah, there are.
Because if you were to then arrest these people, you'd find that it would just completely fall apart.
Yeah, unless it's relevant to somebody else. So if you find information about somebody, but it's not actually directly linked to the people you're investigating, you can't put it across because you're not investigating that person yet. Why are you doing that? Yeah, it's not relevant.
You can tag their name and draw, take a piece of string and tie the two together, but that's pretty much as far as you can go until you find a just cause to investigate those people. Yeah, so that's why I like it. I thought that was quite cleverly done by doing it that way. So I'm just gonna check for chat messages. Nothing. So yeah, it feels real. Yeah, it does help that the Prime Minister in the game looks a bit like Boris Johnson. Ooh. Is Boris Johnson crossed with a little bit of Donald Trump? Oh. Which again could happen. I mean, I've had they start breathing. I've had Orwell 2 since its launch, but I haven't
So
I haven't put it up yet. I haven't launched it yet.
I picked it up for about 3 or 4 days after launch.
I picked it up day of launch, and I got the soundtrack for it as well.
I picked it up and I thought I'll wait until all the episodes are out, then I'll play it, because I know that I would play it and I want to get straight to the next
You
episode.
want to get into the story, you don't want to have that random break.
Yeah.
Because
in all fairness, I think they have them all done in advance, because I think the first thing, they release an episode a week. So it's obviously done in advance, and they just set it up to make it sort of create a bit of cliffhanger, but it's like, I'll wait for them all to be released.
Sure. Do you think they'll make more?
I hope so. I mean, Trial of Orwell always very dependent on the writing.
Yes.
And it's heavily dependent on how they can interconnect it. So it's got to feel very natural. That's part of what takes the time, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, as we've established, it's a game you can play with a mouse. There's no fancy graphics. It's literally a GUI. It's reading. It's story. There's no pretty bang stuff.
And it's thinking about what you're doing as well. You've got to think.
You can't just get your crayons and scribble down a page and say, there you go, there's the story, go.
You'll come across something and they'll seem innocuous enough, and a bit later on you'll be thinking, hang on a second, I saw something similar about that earlier on. Where did I find that? And you'll go back, oh, that now puts out a completely different context. That now makes a lot of difference. So yeah, but yeah, great game.
Yeah.
Great game, good game, worth picking up. I think it's only about sort of, I'll have to check, but it's not expensive.
It's on Windows, Mac and Linux.
Yeah.
So and it'll run on a toasty as well.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme.
So, yeah. Well, I think you can get. I think there's even phone versions of it as well. I think there's
Is there?
I think there's a pad version of it.
Motherfucker.
I think I might be missing, but it would be ideal for a phone.
Yes.
I
think it feels better being on with a mouse though, because of Orwell's user interface. But
but I can see it work well on a tablet.
Yes.
A nice decent sized tablet would work very well. Dragging and dropping the information feel.
I think I'd be quite creeped out if I was playing Orwell on a tablet, to be honest. Could you imagine if you're sat playing Orwell in the middle of a hotel foyer or in the middle of a coffee shop or whatever, and people start looking at you like, oh my god, what the fuck are you doing? Kind of like when people watch you playing Hacknet and for some reason they think you're hacking.
Yeah, I did that. I was playing Hacknet when I was on holiday and my friend from my computer had broken. Oh my god, what's wrong with your PC? Oh, it's nothing, it's fine, I'm just hacking. What are you hacking? Oh, some dude in Russia.
Fucking normies. Recommended. And it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. So yeah, good pick.
Is there still a demo of the first chapter of part 2, or?
Do you know what? I don't know.
Because there was a demo of the entire first chapter for the first Orwell.
I don't know. I'd be surprised they did, because that's a third of the game.
No, I suppose.
But
was it the entire first chapter of Orwell?
I think it was, yeah. But in that case, I would say, well, if you're not sure, go to the first one.
Yeah.
Because the games are basically, the interface is basically the same, just different storylines.
Yeah.
So go play the first one, and you don't have to play it. Although they're co-current, they do link together. They're not so heavily involved together that you need to play the first one.
Orwell will be freshly established in the second game. Is it?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a completely new investigator, so the investigator is going to have to be taught how Orwell works.
Yes. It's the same way when you play, it's like watching two series that sort of run concurrently. It doesn't matter which way round you're watching, because the events one doesn't lead on to the other. They're sort of linked into the same world, and so you can go, oh, it's so and so. Isn't?
Yeah, cause and effect. It doesn't really.
Yeah. So, again, the other game I'm playing, going on to the game that's hard to talk about, is I'm playing an indie game, walking simulator called the Norwood Suite.
Right. Never heard of it.
It's a bizarre game. Weird.
More bizarre than.
Not as bad as What Remains of Edith Finch. That was truly bizarre. This is just weird. It seems to be a thing. If you want to make a weird indie game, you make it a walking simulator. I quite like walking simulators because I don't have to think too hard about them. I can sort of like wander around and so forth. So the game is set at this hotel, and this hotel used to be a house owned by a chap called Norwood, and he was this famous musician, and like literally everybody sort of copied off him, and he had his own like sort of if people audition were good enough, he let them sort of stay and be like one of his sort of proteges.
Okay, sure.
And used to sort of he had like a little select gang of people who he trusts to sort of come around and see him and so forth. And they used to like do big concerts outside his mansion and so forth. And he's like just like the famous musician that everybody refers to, but he's within living memory, and you know, like nearly every major band is sort of involved with him in some way. It's that sort of person. But he died, well, he disappeared in the 70s, and I think this game Sunset sort of plays all modern day, and his house got bought out and turned into a hotel. But it's all musically themed, so as you sort of wander up to it, there's like speakers everywhere playing music constantly. It's like a mixture of weird mix of jazz and rock and roll and so forth. And as you get towards the hotel, you'll see people talking, and when people talk is actually like sort of musical notes. They have different types of musical notes, different people talking. It's quite weird, and they will, in a form of conversations, will ask for things, and basically you help them out. It's a bizarre game because you're a hotel guest. Yet you get there and someone says, "Oh yeah, don't be surprised if people mistake you for a member of staff. Hey, why don't you help them while you're at it?" Right, okay, so
almost like Starship Titanic.
Yeah, except that you are meant to be a guest there. You basically get dropped off by someone who said, here's a voucher for you to go in there and just do what you need to do. And it is so you meet there's a set of characters, and there's a background story of like this company wants to take over the hotel and turn it to a server farm and what have you, and they're sort of like there to have a big board meeting with the manager to try and basically sort of legally take over and so forth, and they're getting ready for the meeting as well, and they've got their own lawyers involved and so forth. And so you're like the night before this big meeting is meant to happen, and you encounter a lot of their employees there, and they'll be talking, discussing, and there'll be other hotel guests there. But it's very weird. It plays quite nice. I mean, I played it. I think it took me just over 2 hours. So it's not a long game. I actually streamed the whole game. So save yourself the money to watch the stream. What I did find is trouble with some of these little indie games, when they're a bit weird and quirky, people tend to get a little bit mad when I think they're the best game ever made.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
It's alright. It's a good game, but the guy needs to work on his writing. I think it's made by one person, and because the dialogue between the characters goes on way too long, to the point where it's like, I just don't talk to them anymore. I should just shut up. The characters will talk and they'll have a conversation, but it just won't end. It just keeps going on, and it's just a bit too it's a bit trying to be too helpful. So when they're talking, there's no, obviously, it's musical, so there's no dialogue. Dialogue appears next to them. Like sort of speech bubbles, but sort of in the air, and it'll highlight either for emphasis or if that's what they want. So someone's saying, "Yes, I was riding down here, riding a bike, and do you remember how I lost my bicycle helmet?" And it's a shame.
There's like big block caps.
Well, it's all block caps, but it's it's like highlighted in white. Right. The other person go, "Yeah, it's a real pity you lost your bicycle helmet. You must make sure before you go you have your bicycle helmet back." And no, chef, you need to.
This is getting quite offensive.
So, sure enough, you need to give him a bicycle helmet, and it's like quite an assumption. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it does that quite a lot. There's bits where like there's two people talking, and what I mean is this. Well, yeah, if you had that, then you could do that, and
very aggressive.
Yeah, it's like they really want to make sure you know what you need to do. He's also really concerned with people getting stuck, so they do two things.
He's insulting our intelligence.
I think it's well-meaning. I don't think it's trying. I think it's like, what if people get stuck? Better make it really obvious in case someone gets stuck. To be fair, my mother and sister play it, they probably would get stuck. Because when they've been using Steam Link and playing some of my games, what I've learned is they're not very good at games that require any sort of deduction.
Any examples?
Avery Attorney, right? They managed to get. I don't know how they managed to do this, right? So in Avery Attorney, they managed to get like the second thing you could get. They managed to get like one of the main people killed by doing a series of bad decisions. Because right, okay. Here's a scenario. You need to track. Okay, it's a layer. Then you need to track somebody down. Here's some place you go to. There's like a bridge near that river, and there's a pub. There's a detective agency. There's like some offices. There's a museum. You need to try and find somebody. Where's a good place to start?
Well, if I'm ever looking for someone, if I need to find someone and I'm not the detective, I might ask a detective or go to a pub.
Yes,
because that's where a lot of information
They went to the pub first. That's fine. That's good. Yeah. They didn't go to the detective agency to about 2 weeks. They had 3 weeks to do this. However, the game throws a curveball because, actual fact, before that time is up, something happens. They waited 2 weeks. She said, "I think, well, I don't know where we need to go next." I said, "Why didn't you ask the person, the detective, to help you out? You know, the person who's going to look for things." And actually said, "If you ever need help, come see me." Perhaps you should ask them. And it's just, and they got there, and of course he says, "Well, I can do it, but it's going to take me like 3 days to find out."
Yeah, it's a bit too late.
Yeah,
that point.
and being one of my characters, when you get to the bit where, like, as she says, "Oh no, I fear we've took too long. I fear we've made a big mistake, and this ain't going to end well." And so and so.
I don't understand how the detective agency can be any more than say 2 on the list.
It was probably about 12 on the list for them. They went everywhere else, but yeah, they just don't. It was like, and so she ended up getting someone killed, and she said, "What should I do?" I said, "Why don't you go to the detective agency first? They cleared the place to go." Stupid game. Yeah, she just she got the previous character. She got someone else killed because she just didn't follow the lead to sort of like think through where she should go, and got someone killed. It's the game's fault. Badly designed.
Wow. So what you're saying is they like to be handheld through stories.
Yes,
They'd like it to be a straight line corridor with the illusion of choice.
Yeah, there's so many games now. It's like, I can't give them that to play. They wish we figured out. They wouldn't be able to play Orwell. I don't think they like.
But
Orwell.
I managed to play Orwell.
Yeah, but you've got some intelligence.
And I only fucked up one person.
But the trouble is, and I want to sound very offensive to console games.
Maybe
now,
me.
They've played a lot of handheldy console games.
Yeah.
You know, games which literally like, okay, go here, highlight, lie on the floor, lots of people standing row with arrows
Games like
pointing
that
at
annoy
it.
the fuck out of me. I do hate games though. The invisible wall is shite out of you. You have a very specific point to go, and it's not really made clear in any way where you have to go.
I like games that, you know, perhaps point to the general area but leave you to your own devices.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what I like about Alien Isolation, where it will basically say, okay, you need to do this. Here's the rough area you need to be, but we're not going to tell you any further from that. You've got to figure out for yourself. And I like that sort of system because that's all the best of both worlds. That it's all like points in the right direction, but allows you to think about it a bit. And so
sure. No, my example was more along the lines of like you now have to go and find something. And then you know that you have to go to this general area, but then it turns out it's in the top desk, or the top drawer in a desk, 3rd floor, office on the left. And you're like, well, how the fuck was I supposed to find that out unless I've gone through every single drawer? You know, like. But you know.
Well, I think you remember the old school games like the old Thief games. You begin your 7 objective at the start, but that was it. You begin if you're lucky, you had a map. Of the area you were going in. Other than that, you had nothing at all.
No, for sure.
You were left to your own devices. So it's like, okay, you need to find a way to do this, this, and this. Off you go, and no clue how you're going to do it. So you have to think, okay, well, I need to find this. I better go look in the library first. Pass out some information about it. You had to think about what you had to do to get to achieve the objective. You couldn't just.
I'm trying to think what my example was for that one. So I figured you'd use Thief.
Well, that's a good example.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's of the same kind of time period. That was 11. It was in my head a second ago. Popped away. Fuck, I don't remember now. Yeah, same kind of thing. It was just, like the old Elder Scrolls games, as an example, would say, go here, but it wouldn't exactly tell you where the fuck that was.
And they'll give you directions, actual directions. There'd be no quest markers.
Yeah, sure. That's
what
they kind of ruined in Oblivion, was it, when they put the quest markers in? Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, it's like, go here.
Yeah, Oblivion, like, you need to find this ancient temple where no one's been for 500 years. Bing, quest marker on the entrance.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
You knew where that was. Just clairvoyant, I just over there.
Yeah. That's, quest markers.
In a lot of cases, they do ruin things.
They do, yeah.
And they can even overcomplicate things because you find yourself taking wrong turns, end up in the rough area, but you are certain you're going the right way because the quest marker is kind of pointing you in that direction. Yeah, it's a dead end. Yes. And then you freak the fuck out because now you have no idea where to go.
Yes. So, let's have a look. Evening, Annie. Yeah, we've got a microphone evaded. So I'm going to Alt-Tab between 2 because I've got no proper chat working.
Fucking stupid chat.
Yeah. But yeah, Norwood Suite, just spin back to that quickly before we finish up on that. It was an enjoyable couple of hours. he needs to work on his. If he does his plan to us, it ends on a sort of semi cliffhanger. If he does the second one, he needs to work on the writing. It's overwritten.
Yeah.
In many ways, the dialogue between characters just goes on way too long. And it's got a bit of weirdness to it. You know, you find yourself like weird runes and so forth. But yeah, it's fun because it's got a very old style. What I like about a lot of the indie games at the moment is they have the sort of style is quite blocky. The characters are quite blocky, but sort of still look roughly right. There's a sort of feel that has compared to modern games. I kind of like that old style feel. Games sort of the early Deus Ex, FIFA's again an example to use that. Half-Life 1, that sort of blockiness to it. I kind of like that. I saw that aesthetic.
Because at that point you're trying to focus more on the story than you are the graphics. Whereas in a lot of cases these days, graphics are number one. Graphics and shine are number one, and the story kind of takes a back seat.
Yeah, so that's Norwood Suite. But other than that, yeah, it's one to pick up in a sale.
Sure. How much does it generally go for?
I think it's about $5.99. I think something like that.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but I said it's literally you will do everything you can to do in it in one session. There's no sort of alternate paths through it and so forth. There's no alternate endings. There is literally a path through it. And I'll just give you an idea of hand holding as well. This is not necessarily a bad thing actually. It does work quite well. There's a concierge, and if you get stuff, you go see him. He'll say, "Well, I believe these guests need help," and basically point you in the direction. So that's like an optional way of, okay, I'm a bit stuck. Where do I go? Oh, I'll point in the direction.
Some old RPGs used to do that.
Yeah,
but almost as a way, as if to say, in the case of some of these RPGs, some of these were quite long, where that you would save, you'd walk away, and you'd potentially go for about a week, and then you'd come back and go, "Oh, what did I have to do?
What the fuck was I meant to be doing?"
Yeah, you can then go and talk to this character or check a log, and that would then tell you where you were.
Or worse, you go in your quest log and it'll say, "Return the Hufflepuff to the Brazilian monster." So, what the fuck is that?
What does that
Where
mean?
the hell is that? Or speak to Janet. Who's Janet?
What the fuck does all this mean?
Yeah.
You just table flip. If I had a quid for every JRPG I've started over the last couple of years and then completely forgot where the hell I was going because I left it for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
I should have probably written this down and drawn maps. But
yeah.
actually, have you read Ready Player One yet? Have you had a chance to read it yet?
Yeah. But you'll like this. I'm going away. I'm going on holiday next week. And I'm actually going to be staying away in a hotel.
Oh,
yes.
Posh bastard.
Oh, posh, yeah. I'm staying away in a hotel. So I'm going to be purchasing Ready Player One for my Kindle app. And I'm going to read that at the hotel.
Because I want to link you to that extra bit that would completely blow your fucking mind. But I can't blow your fucking mind unless you read the book.
Yeah, so I'm going to read that, and hopefully I'm going to read that. That's my little goal. I'm going to read that over the couple of nights I'm there.
Sure.
I'll probably take it one night.
Shouldn't take a huge amount of time to read.
But yeah, I'm going to Bletchley Park. I'm going to go see a Colossus.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's going to be apparently it's going to be running when I go see it.
That's what they tell you.
I hope. I'm going to go see the Museum of Caputing as well.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. Good on museum. Yeah. I'm really. You know, you're getting old when that's you start looking forward to just looking at old computers.
Mate, if I got a chance to dick around with some old computers, I'd be really happy. Is that the one where they're all on big shelves in there, or is that the one where they must have got it set out like a? Or is that am I thinking of the warehouse of the computer museum? Because they've got like a fucking huge like storage unit where everything's on shelves and is labelled.
I think there's a bit of both there because it's a Museum of Computers only open on certain days.
Oh right.
It's only open Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday afternoons. So I'm going up on Thursday deliberately to catch it because it's run by like a different group. And yeah, probably Crosby up there. I think they've got ADSAC up there, which is like one of the first general purpose like reprogram of computers that was developed in the UK.
Is there an emulator of that display?
There is an EDSAC as well. EDSAC stored all its memory in mercury.
See, that just blows my mind.
It was done via sound waves.
But that still blows my mind.
I know.
How would one figure out how to do?
It's very clever. They use mercury because it's very predictable propagation. It doesn't vary too much by temperature, which water varies a bit, so they couldn't use water. And basically, it's very clear. You have it's actually piezoelectric, but effectively you have a speaker at one end and a microphone at the other, and you just pulse sound waves, which is your ones and your zeros, and you might listen to it at the other end, and he feeds it straight back to the speaker to keep it in memory, as it were. Puts it through an amplifier to get rid of degradation, or it leads into the computer instead. They don't use mercury in the new one because A, it's very expensive, and B, it's quite deadly.
Yes.
So they don't use mercury in the new one because these tubes are like 12 feet long. These tubes are huge. But yeah, it's going to be...
The early days of computing really do blow my mind. You had to be a fucking master to get a computer to do anything.
You're working... Well, yeah, in most cases you're working at hardware level, so you're working at binary and so forth. But it's really clever how they... this guy basically set up... When it switches on, it's basically got a startup rotor that goes around that preloads a set of commands into it, which you can then use in your programs. But it has to be done every single time it starts up. So it's like this rotor goes all the way around and preloads all up. Really clever stuff.
It's amazing what they could do at the time, though, really, with what they had at the time. It's amazing how computing even became a thing.
Yeah, yes, it is, and it's amazing how well I think someone, just to bring back to Colossus again, someone actually wrote a program to decode Enigma to see how quickly you could do it now, and run a computer. I think the computer did it in 17 seconds.
Bloody hell.
And you think they had, at one point they had something like 10 Colossus running, and they might do it in a day, and that's just incredible. But the one thing I want to know, and this is why I'm going, is I know that they used to feed in the code on tape to the machine, and then basically all it was a series of Enigma machines that basically spin through every possible combination. They brute force their way through Enigma. That's how they were doing it. They're brute forcing it, and they would do some clever mathematical tricks to narrow down the possible combinations. But it was basically a brute force approach to decoding.
Did they not say it was something to the effect of when they managed to get their hands on certain documents? I don't know if it was a myth, but necessarily they assumed one of the breakthroughs came when they assumed that every letter would end something to the effect of like Heil.
Yes, that was one thing they used to look at. So yeah, they used every message to end in Heil Hitler, so that was a good place to start. So if you got Heil Hitler, you were on the right course. But they actually used to look for weather patterns. So when they used to they looked for the weather report, because they knew they could guess what word to be in the weather report. Because what the Americans British did was they deliberately, any encoded message they would pad at the front with random data, and the front at the end that'd be how big the padding was.
You'd then have to because there's only say a slither of it that's actually useful information.
Yeah, so that's how they used to obfuscate it. So that's quite clever. But one of its biggest flaws, which allowed them to crack Enigma, was the fact that Enigma, which is basically a really fancy set of wiring where you push a button and it lights up a different light, which is a different letter. But the clear thing was it rewired itself every time, because these rotors that basically rewired itself every time. That's how it works. That's a real simplified way of doing it. But because of the way it's wired up, you could never encode a letter as itself. So A could never come out A. It comes out as every other letter, but not. Which means if you had a possible key, and you're comparing it to the original message, and you used to move it along, if at any point two letters lined up that matched, you knew it couldn't be right, and you could just skip it immediately. That's one way to. So then British developed their own version of Enigma, which eliminated that fault. What also the British did after the war was say to all our allies, "Hey, these Enigma machines, the Germans swear by them. Do you want one?" And we didn't tell them we could recode them. Well done, Britain.
Good job. Yeah.
Let's smile, everybody.
We're doing
it
now.
Yes. So yeah, fascinating bit of kit. And what I'm interested in is, I know they got information into it. I know they did. What I want to know is, how they knew they'd achieved their objective. Did they literally have someone looking at every piece of ticker tape coming out the other end, looking for German, recognisable German, to go, this thing's cracked it? Or was it ever some other clever method they had that allowed them to go, Colossus Unit number 3 has cracked it? Right. I suspect it's the hiring lots of people to stare at the bits of tape.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
but I just want to see. What I want to know is the output. Where's the output? Is it producing several thousand bits of ticker tape out of each machine? Because each machine's got numerous sets of rotors in. It's got like 40 rotors in each machine, just brute forcing their way round all the possible combinations. Of which there's something like 35.
I imagine it would have been the room full of monkeys hammering on typewriters, Shakespeare approach.
But I just want to know for sure. That's what I'm going to.
Well, when you find out, I want to know.
Yeah. We'll discuss on the next podcast. You can afford that. Ram's visit to Bletchley Park.
There you go. There you go.
I talk about Enigma, Turnpike in Finland some years ago. Guy brought the machine along as well. Spent quite a long time with JS just staring at it. It's a beautiful bit of kit. It was originally designed for financial institutions, banks and stuff, to pass their data back and forth. It was a general. It was prior to the war. It was just a general version of encryption. The idea was that it was just a way to send secure data. Clever bit of kit. So I'd love a Enigma machine. You can never afford one. It's incredibly expensive, but I'd love an Enigma machine.
Just have like sat on a desk at the back.
I've been tempted to try. If I got good enough at Woodwell, I'm tempted to try and make one.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
It's not. Well, they could make it in the 1930s. And
the trouble is, though, you had real craftsmen back then. Yeah. Really skilled people back then.
What are you saying about me?
Well, fucking you're skilled, but you're so babied by convenience that back then, if you wanted something back in the day, you made it. Whereas these days, if you need something or want something, you go and buy it.
Yeah.
Most of us can't even operate a hammer correctly.
I have to work. I work in the hardware trade. I know full well how to use a hammer.
You hold it by the metal end, right, and whack it with the wood bit.
Yeah, that's right. What you do is you get two of them, and you one in each hand. You go bum 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 bum.
I hope you hit the time on the wall.
On the xylophone, bum 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 bum, and it makes a noise, and then the nail goes in.
Nailed it.
Yeah, literally. Of course, what I do with a hammer is I get a nail gun with a battery powered nail gun and go ka-dumph, 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 ka-dumph. Oh man, I first time I ever had a go at one of those. That was wonderful. This big gun, literally, it's like carrying like a small semi-automatic weapon. Ka-dunk, 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 ka-dunk. That was great fun. Anyway, we're just digressing.
I have this vision of you trying to disable the safety so you can fire the damn thing.
Well, they have the newer ones have safeties on it, so they have like a pressure plate.
I was going to say, like, if you wedged it and...
you have to... Well, I said to the guy, he said, yeah, safety there's to prevent you accidentally shoot it or try and shoot somebody. I said, just a curiosity, a cable tie would fit through that. Goes, yes, you can cable tie it back and it will work.
It's like, see, nailed it.
But apparently the newer ones, the pressure plate has to reset. So you can't...
So it would fire, so you couldn't constantly have it pressed. It would...
No, you have to, because obviously if you use it normally, you would lift up between each use, so the pressure plate would reset.
So that way, there would be like a mechanical, there would be a switch there, so that when it lifted back up, it would slot back and reload the...
I don't know how to do it. It's probably got some clever electronics in it to let it know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But basically, if it doesn't reset between each firing, it won't let you fire at the second time.
Probably won't reload. It probably won't reset the chamber. I'm thinking more gun. But
well, I reckon the gun part is probably more a case of it just interrupts the
it stops the
rather than the tailpipe is still, because I think that's all mechanical, the reloading process. But I'd imagine it just all it needs to do is basically put an interrupt on the trigger. This trigger won't fire again until this thing is reset.
Sure.
So that'd be actually quite. You could do that quite easy on any sort of microprocessor. You could do it with a little set of find
a way to bypass it.
Yeah. Just it's a little 555 timer in there that just pings it every now and again. So it's reset. Yeah, it's reset.
It's done.
It's reset.
You start machine gunning people down with a nail gun.
Yeah. Let's see how fast I get this baby to fire. Crank up the chain, put a little pot on the 255 so you can change the timings of it. Right, let's set it to rapid fire.
Just like he's got his minigun, fucking nail gun.
when I learned that Gatling gun, the miniguns can fire something like 8,000 rounds a minute. They don't do it that fast because that's just they overheat too much. But first, it's theoretical. It's something insane like 8,000 rounds a minute.
Basically, whatever existed there a minute ago isn't there now.
Yeah, it just disappears. I think they normally fire more like sort of 4,000 to 5,000 rounds a minute. Just 4,000 to 5,000.
I mean, only peasant's weapon that is.
Yeah. That's just like I just can't imagine something firing that quickly. It's the idea of that much metal coming out of something so quickly.
Kind of scary why you would want that much metal coming out of something so quickly.
When you not just want to make sure your enemy's dead, but they're in pieces.
Yeah, it's not even making them like pieces. They are molecules. The world's greatest forensic specialists wouldn't be able to find their asses once we're finished.
I thought I had a guy named Sasha.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Right. Anyway.
Right. On to other news. Chat.
Do we have other news?
Oh, we have got big news this week.
What stupid has happened?
So
you were about to say European, weren't you? There is some stupid going on.
Yes, I'm having stupid in European. I'm going to get you the actual name of the thing now because it's a long. Because like most legislation, it's rather long.
How relevant is it to what's actually in it?
Fairly relevant.
Is there anything about prostitution in it tucked away?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. How many people actually read it?
The Directive on Copyright in the Digital Single Market, 2016/0280 COD, also known as the EU Copyright Directive, has passed its first stage of voting, or its new stage of voting. So the biggest concern of it is basically it's supposedly meant to bring copyright in line with the modern day, in digital copyright in line with copyright in other media, is the official word.
It's broken.
Yes.
Standard copyright is quite broken.
Yep. The fact that if you've got enough money as a company, you can just simply pay to, extend it by another 20 years. Disney.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit! Mickey Mouse is going to come in Parliament's Maine. Here's another 3 million congressman. Oh, we'll extend it for another 20 years for you.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. So basically, the big two worries about it is there's two directives in it. The first one is Article 11. And basically, what it says, and this is simplifies the issue, is if you are a site that sort of like gets the news, various news articles together, such as Google News, yeah, that's together. You're going to be in a situation where you have to pay the news company itself for letting you show their stories.
So if you are a company doing it, so if I were to say, because the first thing that flags in my mind is RSS.
Yeah.
If I have an RSS reader and I aggregate everything to a single feed, as long as I'm not publishing that feed, that's not a problem?
I think that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So the basic rule is you can't link to something. If you put a link, so plain hyperlinks are fine, right? But if it's got any description attached to it, which inevitably a hyperlink will,
otherwise it's a plain link.
Why would you put a paid link? You then have to theoretically actually pay the site. So if I want, say for example, we're discussing this, I would normally in our show notes put a link to say BBC News
and then
Reuters.
Say this is blah 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 blah, or you put like a little subtitle in for the link, and then
under this new directive, in theory, we'd have to pay for that privilege to do that. Now my argument is if you're big news out at BBC, you probably don't really care about that because everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
If you're like a little independent and you want to get a news story out there, you're relying on people sharing your news stories.
Yes.
So that seems a bit counterintuitive. Now, interestingly, two countries have already enacted laws similar to this. So Spain put a law in place basically saying you had to do this. Google's answer was discontinue Google News in Spain. Just
Right.
don't do it. Because they're the ones who are going to really be affected by this.
Yeah.
Likewise, Germany did it. They had an opt-in system.
Did it? As in
Well,
they're still doing it?
They're
or-
still doing it, but yeah, it's an opt-in system. So the news companies can choose to opt in and have to do it and say, or can say, no, don't worry, you can link to us, no problem. And what happened was in Google News there, is all the companies that decided to opt in to say, we're going to charge you if you link us, you're going to stop privacy. And do you know what? Strangely enough, their bandwidth, their revenue went down.
Well, what do you know?
Because people didn't go to their sites.
I was going to say, this is how the internet works. The hyperlinks are they are the internet. If you stop linking things from one place to another place, people don't generally find it.
Now, if you're not a corporation, you can still send links out. But what I want to know is, they've not explained is how this affects blogs. So you have your own personal blog.
Yeah.
You put a link on it. Is that personal use, or if you've got, like, say, AdSense on that blog and you advertise and you might get some revenue from it, is that now commercial use?
Yeah.
Yeah. If your blog is hosted on, like, a platform, or let's put another example, Facebook. You paste a link onto Facebook. Facebook's technically hosting that link.
But let's be fair though, a lot of people get their news from Facebook. If you weren't allowed to post news links on Facebook, but most people wouldn't.
Will BBC News say, or say Sky News say to Facebook, well, you're hosting our link, we want you to pay us for that. And will Facebook then push you saying, sorry, you can't paste a Sky News link on our website anymore?
But that's like, say, the advertiser. It's the Lowestoft Journal.
Yeah.
Right. They have a page on Facebook.
Yeah.
So in theory, if the BBC had a Facebook page, it probably wouldn't be a problem if that were reshared, because it would have originated on that platform.
Yeah, I suppose I would get out of it. Yeah, I would get away because you're linking to a link. I suppose you get out of it that way. It's a funny thing. That's another thing. So let's say, for example, Google pays the newspapers to host this thing. If you link to the Google page of the article, not to the article, have you bypassed that? It's stupid. What the whole point is to share.
How are
links.
they going to? The whole point of the internet is to share things.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, if you do not share information, like, how the fuck do they think you find anything? What do they think Google is?
Yeah. Well, Google's the people who are pushing against this because you're basically saying search engines can't exist.
Yeah, because how are you supposed to find anything? That's like me saying, okay, here's a big old, like, I could come up to you with a big box of paperwork, just throw it on the floor and say, now find the thing that you're interested in.
There are counter arguments that this is this. I think so. Is that all these new aggregators are basically making money through hosting and so forth off other people's work, is their arguments. But I'd argue is no, they're offering a different service. That to me is like saying, well, the Yellow Pages is making money off all these, these builders and so forth. They're making money because they're advertising these builders and linking builders in between. Well, no, they're offering a service. Yes, they get money as well, but that's because they're offering that service. Google's offering the service of linking you to these pages so you can find them and then go to those websites and view the websites and perhaps look around the website more.
Yeah.
But they've got to make money. They've got to keep their servers running somehow.
Let's be fair, Google is an advertising company.
Yeah.
It's an advertising company.
Advertising information company. Same as Facebook. Facebook's an advertising information company. In fact, most big social medias, that's what they are. They're there to get all they want your data for is to advertise to you.
Yeah.
They're profiling you. They're Orwelling you. Their system's a bit more automated and less restricted. Everybody's fair game.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't opted into it.
Well, yeah. I'm just speaking of, I recently installed some things on my network to say where users were going, and it would separate. Each device would have its own tag, I suppose. Like this laptop has gone to here, 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 and here. Now, I don't use Facebook, Twitter, Google, with the exception of YouTube, and like a few other places. They all turned up on my device's usage, even if it was only in kilobytes, because of the amount of shit that was tied into other pages.
Yeah.
These sites are everywhere. You do not have to go to Google, Facebook, or wherever for them to build a profile on you, because they are everywhere.
Yeah. I'm sure Facebook has profiles on people who've never been on Facebook.
They have. They have.
Yeah. Well, people go say, I joined Facebook, they seem to know an awful lot about me before, just immediately after joining.
I actually know someone who
right?
they deleted their profile, actually had it deleted, and had confirmed with staff at Facebook that it had been deleted and the information had been pulled from the, so that it was no longer in the backup, so they were no longer going to be, just get rid of it, right? Which is a lot of work in the grand scheme, and if they actually did it, then good job, but whatever. Then not long after that, or sometime later, some time passes, this person goes back to Facebook. But just by their browsing history, I guess like cookies and things stored on their machines, contacts and other fluff, as they logged in, created a new thing with a new email address. It said, oh yeah, maybe you know this person. Maybe you know that person. Are you interested in? And it just had a long...
Yeah. I mean, even now, even though I know it's all done through meta, searching, I'm amazed when Facebook pops up and goes, do you know such and such? It's like, yes, I do. How the hell did you know I know that one? It's like, I know it's all done through this metadata and lots of trawling and sort of analytics and so forth. But even though it's an impressive... I mean, the software is impressive.
Oh yeah.
What it can achieve.
Creepy as bollocks.
Yeah, but...
And the fact that it's monitoring you when you have really no choice in the matter. If you want to use the internet, you had better be willing to be watched. And anyone that denies that they're being watched by these companies, you're an idiot.
No.
You're an absolute idiot.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very difficult to be anonymous on the internet these days. You can do all the VPNs, all the Tor barriers you want, but as soon as you anywhere put a username, boom, they're chasing you down.
Or one single mistake.
Yeah.
One single mistake, and they've got you. You know, one moment when you don't have Tor up, or one moment when you don't have your VPN up, you are nailed. And then they will be able to tie in all of the times that you have used that VPN just through patterns of browsing.
Just look how often, I'm not talking about script kiddies, I'm talking about actual decent hackers get caught. And it's all because they make one stupid mistake. And this, again, just like Orwell, once you make one mistake, you can trace it all back and work your way around it.
Oh, well, that's it. Because you can just, like I said, you can just use pattern of browsing. You know, we all do things in some crazy pattern. You know, you might say... I don't know, you might watch InfoWars on YouTube and you manually type it in every single day, and you do that on your home IP address, and then one day you'll VPN it and just, without thinking, do that exact same cycle on the VPN, and they'll be like, well, hang on a minute. Hang you fucking on a minute, this is looking awfully familiar. But let's say they manage to get logs, because some VPNs hold logs on traffic.
Yeah.
They could, in theory, then go back through all of that, just swim through that fucking rat's nest, find all that information. I mean, de-anonymizing data isn't as hard as people seem to think it is.
No.
It really isn't. You just have to find one key piece of information and the whole thing just falls into place.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, your phone's grousing you up, your laptop's grousing you up. Most devices you buy these days require the internet to do anything. Your TV's got a microphone in it. Some of them have got cameras in them. You know, what was it? What company was it that was snapshotting what people were doing? Vizio?
Something like that. I remember. Yeah, that was their TVs, wasn't it?
Yeah, Samsung have been caught doing it before as well. That their TVs snapshot things and listen to what you're watching to try and build a profile on you to do whatever.
Yeah.
And
the thing that I've been mind is a lot of this is not it's not malicious in the sense that they're trying to harm. They're just trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah. It's not. They're not doing it to be evil. It just comes across as really evil and creepy at the end of it.
It's all just targeted advertising.
Yeah.
Although it does get wrong, tries to sell you an automatic robotic milking machine constantly.
Yeah.
I still don't know why that keeps appearing on my web browser.
Well, you never know.
In Swedish.
What was that chap we know? He's into computer science. He's way smarter than I am, which isn't very hard. But he said that he's very particular when it comes to his browsing habits about using VPNs and stuff like that. And he said just randomly he went onto another machine, but he was talking around his phone or something like that, and then logged into another device, and it then started targeting ads based on what they were talking about.
There's a lot of stories about this, and you hear this quite a lot. And there's no, in the sort of school, there's no general consensus yet whether they are listening. They are listening, but not whether they're actually picking up dialogue and text and so forth. At the moment, it looks like it's more confirmation bias. So you don't remember all the 100 times it never does it. It's just that one time it's lucky and happens to randomly pick an advert that just happens to, it's talking about that. I mean, let's face it, that used to happen in the days past before the internet even existed. You would feel so all of a sudden a leaflet would come through the doors, just think about doing that. Yeah,
well, it's patterns. We do everything, we are really quite obvious.
Yeah, and just by sheer luck. So, because there was talk that Alexia was listening in to you, but then an ex-dev who had no tries to everything. I said no, it doesn't. It simply has a small bit of memory and a bit of processor that all it does is listen for those 3 words, Alexia or whatever. Just listen to that phrase, and then when you speak, it records it, and then it passes. Then it wakes up the process and passes it over.
But then, how do we have all these cases in America where the police are using Alexa voice data for domestic disputes?
Well, I suppose perhaps it could be. That's at the time what he said. Maybe it's changed, so they've reprogrammed it. Maybe
but at the end of the day, do you really want users to know that you're listening to them constantly? Because then they're just going to unplug it.
He was an ex-dev, so he had no... Obviously, he's still going to have a bias, so you've got to sort of judge there, but he had no dog in the fight anymore, as it were, so... Anyway, the other thing about this bill, going back to you, is that's the first worry. The other thing about it is they want to make copyright restrictions a lot tougher, down to the point where they want basically every site or every major sort of commercial site to basically have to be responsible for if any copyright material gets posted on their site. So if someone posts a music video on YouTube then becomes liable for that music video being posted.
Right.
So, which is slightly different to how it is now, that they are not, they have to remove it, but they're not directly liable. So, if you are at places like YouTube or Facebook or any sort of social sharing platform where people can share stuff, well, that's going to be a nightmare, because you're going to have to literally validate and verify every little thing that goes on your site relatively quickly.
And what is the time? Is there a time period?
So it's been bouncing around. Some people have bouncing around 1 hour. That's been bouncing around as in debate of an hour.
An hour?
Yeah, I mean,
There's no way we could do that.
Well, no, we just had to stop all using. We don't let anyone have posts on it, I don't know, but we just had to shut all comments down.
Jesus.
People couldn't actually be able to post anything. But you think about it, how shit it wants to be. If you've got so much as like a game logo showing, so all Let's Plays, boom, gone. Live streams, I don't know how they're going over live streams. I mean, the only way they'll get around it is if you're basically, I suppose, the only hope is that all your servers are in another country which aren't affected by the law. But this could potentially kill the entire European live streaming YouTube groups. Yeah. They just simply can't show any copyright material at all.
That's everything.
Pretty much, yeah. You're really limited. That really severely limits to what you can show and what's famous. They call it the meme banning because
I was going to say, what's 4chan going to do about this? Because like, memes are made out of copyright
isn't really a
material.
thing anymore, let's be honest. Basically, it's a walking zombie now, isn't it, really? 4chan?
Don't say that.
Oh,
mate, don't go up to the hive with a stick. Don't you start that.
Eve players, I'm scared of. Eve players are dangerous. You don't mess with Eve players. 4chan, they're just a bunch of kids.
Oh, that's scary.
What are you going to do? Dress up in Guy Fawkes mask and go woo at me? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so memes. You know, because this content creation is going to have to be it's going to have to be very, very pessimistic. And just
I don't understand how they're going to enforce it. I don't know how they could even check. I mean, we've seen YouTube try and incorporate different algorithms to find copyright material, and they're wrong all the time. Yeah.
It's It's even. I mean, it's just going to be. It's just not going to work. No. I mean, one of the
they're breaking the internet. How? What brain boxes thought this was a good idea?
People don't use the internet. Well, you see, they say content creators. Now, what you mean is music industry, big media companies have been pushing for this laws to be updated. And let's be honest, the music industry as a whole, their attitudes towards copyright is frankly ancient. You know, they I think if they could, they'd have you buy a song every single time you want to listen to it. I think they could do that. They are literally like, you know, they every sort of like, well, we've managed to ban this and this. Well, remember they made it illegal that you couldn't actually you can't technically like back up a CD.
Yeah, well, isn't that not still in law over here? That if you were to use the iTunes CD ripping feature, you're technically breaking the law.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Transformative media means bollocks.
Yeah.
In this country.
And, you know, or even technically, if you're moving from your iTunes store from your laptop to your iPhone or iPad, is technically transforming the media. So they thought this was a great thing. It's like, no, it isn't. So I just
fuck me. They'd have to arrest me every day of the week then, because if you look underneath my table, just behind. So for folks who are listening to the audio, I'm pointing to the opposite side of the room, and on the opposite side of the room, there's a stack of about 30 comedy CDs that I've recently ripped into FLAC format.
Modest kid MP3, yeah. I think the old method of it's fine to back up something. It's fine to put a copy on your phone, whatever. That's fine. You can make copies for yourself as you want. It's when you start sharing it. That's when, to me, it should be. You know, when you start sharing it, say, "Oh, hey, mate, have all this music." That's when, to me, that's all crosses the line of, okay, I can see got a point. But why shouldn't you be able to have a backup in your
I don't agree, because I've had arguments with various bands over the years, and a few recently, old bands from like the 80s and the 90s, and I said, when you first formed your bands and maybe before, did you ever pass off mixtapes? Usually the answer is yes. So why aren't you in prison then for passing around someone else's work for free? You are stealing their material.
Yeah.
And passing it off. Why is that okay for you but not okay for me? Why was it okay then but not now?
Oh, because what they're doing was harmless, wasn't affecting anybody, but now it's costing them money.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's the truth. There's a lot of. I mean, people are naturally hypocritical, and it's they all very much change their tune when their shoes on the other foot. See, that's fairly common for a lot of things.
This is why piracy is represented by the cassette tape and Crossbones, the Jolly Roger with the cassette tape on it. Because the whole idea was that cassette tape recording was going to destroy the music industry. It didn't back then. Trading music isn't going to destroy it now. You're just a bunch of greedy fucking dinosaurs You need to get with the times, man.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need record labels anymore. Distribution, if you're a big wig with ties in other countries to get CDs and advertising out around the world. Like, let's say you're an American and you've got mates in Europe who can do the same job you do in Europe. Great, but you do not deserve as much of a cut as you think you do. These streaming services are bollocks too.
In this day and age, with the way internet is now, you don't actually need route companies. You know, you can make it big. Just if you're good, if you're good, you've got a better chance of people finding you. Then
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. I know some very talented folks who have never been seen.
No, I'm saying a better chance, not
no.
Guaranteed.
I still don't believe that. You could be the best of the best of the best. There are so many people who have literally starved to death.
Yeah.
And not been seen.
Yeah.
Your skill level doesn't tie into how likely you are to be discovered at all. If you were to go and if you were to
like you to then share you on.
Sure, but then by that same token, I could then take a 6-shooter, put it into my mouth, and pull the trigger, and have that shared just as much. And there's no skill involved.
No, there'd be no skill involved, but there'd be
stupid tends to go further than skill.
Yeah, that's very true. You are right there. However, I think long lasting. You know, bands that are good tend to they may have a slower build up, but when they will tend to last longer in long term than the ones who are bad. Because the fact is, if someone's bad, not a lot of people unless if there's enough people liking something, then clearly if you think it's bad, it's just a difference in taste.
I don't quite get that either. No.
Well, it's logical. If a lot of people like something and you don't like, then there must be.
Like, go back in time and tell me the Spice Girls were decent.
Well, not my cup of tea, but for a lot of people, like them.
They were actually shoved down a lot of people's throats. You were kind of forced to like them. What was the old saying? We will play it until you like it.
Yeah. Well, I think but then those people, they tried, it didn't work on me.
Not on you, but it did on many people. It had nothing to do with the people actually being skilled or being good at it.
But they targeted the market who they were aiming for, which was basically young, pre-adolescent or teen girls, lapped it up. They liked it.
Impressionable idiots. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it was good. And it didn't last.
No, it hasn't lasted.
Just because it did very, very, very well.
Which is exactly what I say. It's stuff that is good will last. Yeah,
but your definition of good is incredibly loose.
Well, yeah, because everybody's idea, because it's by nature has to be loose, because what everybody's idea of good is different for every person.
Yeah, it's a measure. It's a measure of success, but that's what I'm saying. You can't say it because it doesn't mean anything. You can't say that the good stuff will last the longest because, like, for example, someone will say Black Sabbath is one of the greatest bands of all time. They were in the right place at the right time. Yeah. But if you look at them, musically they were numb as bollocks.
There is a certain degree of luck involved in that as well.
No, but what I'm saying is that just because they're successful doesn't mean that they were...
You could be the best of whatever you do, but all you can do is... That just actually is one thing that stacks things slightly in your favour, but there's a lot of other factors that play in that as well. But it certainly helps if you're half decent to stack. It certainly helps if you're working as a.
I think timing is more important than skill.
Oh yes, certainly it has to be. There are a lot of there's plenty of examples throughout history of people who. Oh, that person was great, they invented such. Well, no, actually, if you go 10 years previous, you'll find examples of people who are doing that. The experimentalist people who are doing that, but at the time wasn't ready for it. But now you might look back so they get sort of lost to history. There are examples of that. So that's what I'm not saying that it's a dead cert. I'm just saying that it certainly helps you a bit. You know, I'm not saying that anything's dead. Nothing in life is dead certain. I
still don't necessarily agree with it because when you look at a lot of the people who are big now, if you go back and listen to the stuff that made them popular, it wasn't actually that good.
No, But
that's why I say timing is more important than actual
Yeah.
skill. And to say that you, like I said, your definition of good is very loose, and as you said,
Right.
it has to be. But that's why I say you shouldn't really say that you shouldn't really use that as a foundation for this, because it's so loose. It depends on how you define success, and it's bollocks.
Well, how would you define success?
Well, again, as you said, it's so loose. Are they financially successful? Do people know about them now? But when you look at it, that can still all be down to timing, not whether or not they're actually any good.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that lots of things play a factor of if you're going to make it. Lots of things play a factor. I mean, hell, look at YouTubers. Okay, there are a lot of people there who make quality content who've got 10 subscribers. There's a lot of people there who make not such great content who've got a million. There's a certain degree of luck involved. There are lots of factors involved in that as well. Lots of things. You can do everything right and still fail.
Yeah.
But things you do right certainly increase your chances of being better. It's not purely a roll of the dice.
Also, it depends on the field.
Well, yeah, it does. That's just another thing that factors into it. It's not purely based down to, well, whatever happens, you'll be successful, you'll be a failure. It doesn't.
I'd say if there were 10 electric cars, then you've got more of a chance because the field isn't quite as oversaturated as all this other stuff. Which is where, kind of my thing with the whole band thing, timing more than skill. It is timing more than skill.
Yeah.
Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, let's go Spice Girls, Lady Gaga, Madonna. Nothing. Yet they're still big just because of where they were at the time.
Yeah.
Then the trouble is the record labels these days feel that they haven't adapted.
No.
All of the so once upon a time you needed to be able to go to a studio, and studios were owned by record labels usually, and so you'd kind of have to sign a deal with the devil to go in and be able to record your album. These days the stuff is so cheap you could buy it and set up your own home studio.
Yeah.
The labels don't need a car.
Well, it's the same issue with print media is facing the same issue.
Yeah.
Although I do prefer books to e-read. I prefer having a book in my hand.
Same.
Anyways, that's just something I like.
You focus more on a physical book than you do on an e-reader.
Yeah, but at the same time, I understand that the industry's changing, and the way they're trying to compete is basically making the digital version either the same price or much not cheaper. When in actual fact they end up making more profit on that because it costs you nothing to. If it costs you nothing,
it on a server.
It costs you nothing. Even if you serve yourself, it's going to cost you. Whereas if you sell 1,000 books, you need to print another 1,000 books to sell it. Whereas once you've got a file on the server, you're just paying for electricity and bandwidth, which you've probably got for pennies anyway. So that's what annoys me about Amazon, that Kindle books are usually only like £1 cheaper. You get a physical book for 25 quid or the Kindle book for 24.
A lot of Kindle books are horribly formatted as well. They don't seem to translate very well to being on the Kindle screen, which I find it weird how many people really enjoy reading on a Kindle. I have a Kindle, but I find that font sizes seem so wrong for that screen size.
I mean, you can. Well, I mean, I've got the Kindle app. I haven't got a Kindle, but I've got the Kindle app on my phone, and you can change like all the sizes.
You can, but it still doesn't seem to. It doesn't look. It's print. It doesn't look natural. Sarcastic air quotes. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like what I've been trained to believe a book, printed word should look like. It looks artificial because it's just on a screen. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. So formatting just always seems a tad off. And it's never uniform. You can never just go back to the normal size.
No.
Like default, it's like whatever you last set it to. So if you were kind of drunk one night and made it, I don't know, 42 on the screen, you want it to be 12 point again. It doesn't really let you go to a default format.
No, I mean it's. Yeah, I mean I prefer. In case of books, I prefer physical books. Most things I'm quite happy for digitally. Games have been digital only for probably about 10-15 years. Been digital. Well, pretty much since Half-Life 2 came out was pretty much when I started switching over to digital stuff. When I realised actually how useful Steam was, and owning a physical game feels weird now.
Yeah.
It just feels strange actually owning a physical game.
Actually, I can complain about that. Today we were trying to get another game again, a game that we had already played previously and installed on a device, only to find that because I had formatted my device recently, the game had been pulled from the store within the last month, and now you can't get it anymore.
That's weird because Steam you can still download.
Oh no, but that's Steam. We weren't using a PC.
Yeah,
we were using it. So not every platform is equal, but it's
because that's a platform. Because Steam has everything on there. Even if you can't buy the game anymore, because Alan Wake you can't buy the game. Well, last time I checked, you couldn't buy the game anymore because the licenses have run out for some of the songs. Mm-hmm. But if you already own it, you can still download it.
Mm-hmm. It did the same thing with Crysis when EA tried to pull all their stuff from the store. If you'd already bought it, you could still re-download it. And
I think the same is true for Vice City. Because Vice City had the same issue, all the licenses have expired. Yeah. Which, again, that's a weird thing to me. The idea of, you can license the music, but you can only have 15 years. Well, can I just buy it to have it in this game and just have it in the game? No, we want to have our cut every single time, and after 15 years you can't sell it anymore.
Stupid, but then that is the music industry for you. It's. I don't know how any of these things are going to be enforced. I think that they exaggerate way too much. Way too much. Oh, the industry's going to collapse. The music
industry has fucking died in the last 20 years.
That's my point. That was my kind of point at the start of all of this, was that music has been pirated for fucking years.
Pirates are going to pirate. No matter what you do, there's going to be a certain group of people who will just not pay for it.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, and I think everybody, to their extent, everybody has probably a threshold at which point they will pirate something. It could be a cost thing. They simply can't afford what they want, so they decide to pirate it. It could be a case of, well, I want to try before I buy, so I'll pirate. And demos aren't really such. They're coming back now a bit now, but for a long time, you're seeing more of them now.
Yeah.
But for a long time, demos weren't a thing, so you just download it and pirate it and then try it and then say, actually I don't like it, or I do like it, I'll buy the full game. But there are particular people who will just pirate no matter what. No matter what you do, they will find a way around.
It's free, it's there.
Yeah, and they don't want to pay for it, they want to pirate it. Nothing you're going to do about that, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, you put these laws in place, but people still pirating is still illegal, it hasn't not changed.
It's always been.
They're not going to suddenly go, well, I used to pirate, unless you start putting the death penalty in, and then that won't discourage people.
Yeah.
So pirate's going to pirate. There's nothing you're going to do to change that. The only way you change that is for switching from piracy is build a decent system.
Yep.
Which is what Steam did. Half the reason Steam's it's cut piracy is because it's a decent. Well, it works. I mean, you compare it to something like you plays Bear now, but like games when of live, where it was just difficult to do something, to buy something. Seems easy. They realise, let's make it easy for people, and do you know what? If you make it easy for people and to buy stuff, people will buy stuff.
I'd like to say this to publishers, record labels, games developers, whoever makes the final call on this. Stop putting in DRM. Please. It's not stopping your stuff from being pirated at all. There has never been a DRM that hasn't been cracked, to my knowledge. So you're investing a shit ton of money in a flawed system. The only people that you are inconveniencing with your DRM are the people who are paying for the product.
Yep.
Not the people who are pirating it, because if you've pirated it, the DRM's already been cracked, so it's not there. Let's say randomly your servers are down and I've paid for a game and my game needs to handshake with your server for me to be able to play.
Yeah.
If it's down, I can't play. I paid for it, but I'm being treated like a criminal. The pirate doesn't have to worry about that at all.
I've tried the story many times of how I tried to play Far Cry 3 and it wouldn't let me because I had a CD copying software installed.
Yep. No, I remember those days too.
So I just downloaded Cracked EXE.
Yep.
I wasn't going to pirate it, but technically I did because it's the only way to get the game to work.
Stop making it so difficult for people with legitimate access to your software to use your software or listen to your music or whatever.
If DRM is very unintrusive, and that's like a good example of DRM, Steam.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of DRM,
mm-hmm.
But it's unintrusive and it doesn't get in the way, and it lets you play the games. It works, and if you build a system that works, it's fine. I mean, you're not going to like this. You're really not going to say. I've started playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, I thought so. But it means I've had to experience Rockstar Social Club, which is frankly a fucking pain in the ass.
Yep, I agree.
It's garbage. It's absolute rubbish. It took me ages to get it to create. It took me ages to sort of create an account up with it. You have to sign in every bloody time you start the game. I was like, but I've launched it from my Steam account, which I've already signed into. Can you not just remember who I am and you're on the same PC? There's no option to say remember who I am. Every single time I've got to put my email address in, put my password in, and verify it through our capture. So just let me fucking sign in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to suddenly turn to a bot in the meantime.
Isn't it Take Two? Take Two? Is that Rockstar?
I don't know. Is it Rockstar? I thought
Rockstar and Take Two Interactive.
I didn't know that. I thought they were their own thing.
No, I don't think Rockstar's their own. No, I do not think they are.
But it's like this.
Either way, it's.
I mean, it's literally my PC. Right, didn't put it to sleep. I literally left it running, come back, wanted to play a game a bit later on. You got to sign in again. The PC hasn't been switched off. What the fuck?
Just inconvenient, man. You're a criminal. You paid for their software, and they don't trust you with it.
Yeah. I literally was just looking online. Oh, how do I bypass this? How can I? All I wanted to do is do what Uplay does. Uplay remembers who I am. I've signed into it once when I first had it installed, and now as soon as I launch a game, Uplay launches the game launches. I don't have to do anything. It's like, yeah, I prefer not to be there, but you know what? It doesn't actually get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Rockstar Social Club, just fucking sign me in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm launching you from Steam.
It's things like De Nouveau and all those other kind of tied into the game DRMs that are the problem, not so much Steam or Uplay, which are basically just confirming purchase.
Yeah.
De Nouveau is constantly running to stop you from fucking with the game.
Yeah.
And it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It breaks more games than it really needs. What was the last game that we were playing that had De Nouveau on it, and it was fucking atrocious. It made the game run like a slideshow unless you had a supercomputer. And it turns out that it was literally, people thought, the game's really badly optimised. No, it was De Nouveau. It was just De Nouveau having a hissy fit, but I can't remember what it was. Might have actually been Nier Automata.
You and the there's just so many. DM doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And stop paywalling things. If people want to give you money, they'll give you money. Stop paywalling everything.
Yeah.
You know, stop trying to stop people from stealing your shit, because they're just going to look at you and go, you're already rich. What do you care?
And what else? One other thing I wish they'd do, stop random region locking.
Oh, please.
Right. You go on, I know you don't like it as well, Humble Bundle, and you go and, set of books on here. Okay, you scroll on, this book isn't available. This random book is not available in your region. Why?
No, I had the exact same thing. Actually, I wanted to get a hold of a copy of is it Presto by Penn Jillette, audiobook, and could I get it in the U-fucking-K? No, not available in the UK. US? Yep, it's there. Same with all the different anime sites that I've gone to. Right, if I use a legitimate anime streaming service, Funimation, Crunchyroll, or whatever. Well, I told you about the story of Funimation, didn't I? How I wanted to watch Overlord.
I think you have.
Right. So you go to Overlord on Funimation, go to the UK website, click. Overlord, click. Okay, episode 3. The season starts with episode 1. Episode 3. Click. Yep, that's they haven't mislabeled it. That's episode 3, 4, 5. What's episode 1? VPN. United States. Funimation.com. Episode 1, 2, 3. They're not available in my region.
Yeah, for some random reason.
Just randomly, the first few episodes of the series were not available in my region.
Yeah.
Entire shows, they'll advertise them. You can't watch them.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Yeah, I hate region locking.
We haven't got the license for your country.
Why is that a thing?
You can ship to my country.
Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing that you have to have a license for every single individual country? Surely the license is we can stream this software, this program for you. Surely that should be the license. We can stream it. Oh no, we don't want the Brits having this.
I can give you my money. You will happily take my money. There are ways for you to take my currency and have it automatically converted into your currency. There are no extra steps for you at all. This will be done by a middleman, PayPal or whatever, or even my bank. Will just happily just squirt that money to you. No issue for you at all. But you still won't give it to me. Well, in Germany they censor blah blah blah. It's up to the user.
Yeah.
What was it they were saying? The new thing with Steam, where before they started censoring visual novels, didn't they, for sexual content and all that kind of stuff, and then they started taking them off the store. Now they've got the we accept everything, but you have to opt in to what we will show you. And the idea being there that if they click that they want to see violence and sexual content, you can't sue because you had to click to see it.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not easy to do if you have to actually go into your settings and find it's a bit hidden away, so you have to very deliberately want to do it.
Yes. If I've come to your store to buy something in a region that I'm not supposed to have it, that's on me. I chose to... Like Australia, they made it illegal to import certain games and certain DVDs.
Well, you can't basically play anything in Australia, can you?
Pretty much.
Their censor laws are so tight.
That fucking infuriate me. I was like, oh yes, illegal to own in this country. Why? Who fucking decides this? I'm mature enough to know what I can and can't play before I have a fit of frenzy and kill 15 people.
Some bearded person in their government who is an old fuddy-duddy who thinks all games should be about fluffy bunny rabbits, sees and goes, that's a violent game, I'm not letting that through.
I get more aggressive when you tell me what I can't do than from any game I've ever played in my life. Not even Nier Automata has made me that fucking angry. But if you were to say to me, no, you can't play it because I don't like the cut of 2B's skirt, character 2B, in the game. If you said to me I couldn't play it because the game's been banned in my country because of something stupid
pencil
like that.
skirt.
She doesn't have a skirt, okay?
Sorry, you said 2B.
Yeah, I know, it's just...
It was so funny you forgot to laugh.
Yeah. I'm laughing right now, can't you tell? But,
oh yeah, have you heard about the new film, Constipation? Hasn't come out yet.
That was actually a good one, good job. Just little things like that. Stop. Record industry, go away. Publishers, stop with the DRM. Stop treating people like criminals before they've actually broken the law.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. As you said, everyone's going to pirate.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to pirate. Like if they weren't going to pay for it ever, they're never going to pirate. They're never going to pay for it.
The question is, what is their threshold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an example,
there's a lot of people who've pirated without realising it.
Yeah.
Now times people have gone, oh, I like that funny clip. Oh, look, it's on YouTube. Well, let's watch it. You technically if you want a clip from a computer series that shouldn't be on YouTube, you technically broke the law there.
Yeah. In the grand scheme, yeah. Very loosely, but...
Yeah, but technically you are...
They think it's fine because it's right there on YouTube where they get all their other stuff from. They don't quite understand that that's not where they...
Yeah. Look at the 2 candle sketch. That's technically copyright the BBC. I don't think BBC have put that on YouTube. They've put a lot of stuff on YouTube. They've not put that on YouTube. They might have done that.
They might have done, but
if it's not an official BBC channel, then you're probably technically breaking the law then.
Like all the random documentaries that are on YouTube. People are like, oh, because I was speaking to a friend the other night and I said, like, I recommend you go and watch this film. And they're like, oh yeah, cool. And rather than actually going to look for it on a legitimate source, they just typed it into YouTube and started watching it off that. But to them, that's not piracy.
No,
because it was on YouTube.
I mean, I see it a bit like I like watching old documentaries, but BBC doesn't host them. There's no other way you can watch them. BBC doesn't host them on their iPlayer. They host a lot of stuff on their iPlayer. They don't host everything, and there's no other legal way for you to watch this program. So
at that point, it's fair game.
That's my point. Give me the option. It doesn't cost you. You know, if you put a digital copy on your store, you have a digital store and you can buy it as a season, whatever. Then there's really no objection at that stage. There's no I can say, there's less of a legitimate excuse not to, unless you charge a ridiculous price for, 20 quid or something.
Yeah.
But if you're charging for this documentary came out 10 years ago, we'll charge you 99p to have a copy of it.
Yeah. I'd even pay two quid for that.
Yeah,
give me a DRM free copy of it and I'll...
Right. It's like, I'm a sad person. I like The Apprentice. I'm a fan of The Apprentice. I like watching the older series of The Apprentice.
Sure. Okay?
You can't watch them legitimately, or you can watch like best bits. I want to watch the actual shows.
Yeah, sure.
You can't watch them legitimately. There's no... You can get confirmations, but I want the actual show. I want the actual 12 hours. They exist. They're out there. So I have to watch them illegitimately. So anyway, I can watch them.
Yep. No, and we have that. We have that too. This all falls down to licensing in a lot of cases. It's all licensing.
I'm just going through the comments quickly. Speaking of demos, I played some for the Amiga CD Fade 2 this week. Good stuff. We'll have to buy the full version on release. LR City and Worth, in case you're interested. Splatoon Day is this game that had competition that was not only cumbersome and annoying to use, but created several massive loading times and several game-breaking bugs. Yeah. It's amazing, if you give people the option to buy stuff, people actually will pay for stuff. People have, unless they are just thieves, people have got a general, I have to pay for something I want attitude.
Yeah.
I don't go into a food shop and just steal stuff off the shelf. Even if I could.
A lot of people who are in the industry don't seem to understand that we're not out there just to try and steal everything. No. But when you start making us jump through a shit ton of hoops to get something that should be really quite simple,
you've gone from seeing the general public as people who will generally pay for a fair value for things to all bunch of thieves. You need to sort of protect them against, you need to make sure everything's fine. It's like, well, don't treat people like thieves and they'll become thieves. So it's
like, right, so let's say you pay for Sky, you pay for Amazon Prime, you pay for Netflix, you're paying for 3 different services, you go to look for a film, it isn't there, or they say, here's another place, but they want you to pay like £5 for a 12-hour rental for it or whatever, right? And then they wonder why people go out and pirate things.
Yeah.
Like, how many different services do I need to pay for before I can get the content I want?
Yeah.
How many different streaming services do I have to pay for before I can get the music I want or the video I want?
I worry that's there's what could end up actually putting us into a streaming dark age is you've got all these producers and content, all these companies out there like Disney and so forth, and they're looking at all these streams like Netflix thinking, they signed a contract for us to stream their stuff. They're making a lot of money doing that. That's what. And before you realise that you're going to have I suppose BBC's got iPlayer, but a lot of that stuff is still Netflix though. But they might put on.
You'll have like the Disney streaming service, the Marvel streaming service,
the Warner Brothers streaming service, the Fox streaming service, and Netflix will basically disappear because you end up going spending, oh well, I want to watch this program, it's on Fox, oh, I've got to spend like $5.99 a month now for that, and before you realise that everybody wants a piece of the pie, and they can't accept that sometimes for the consumers, for the greater good, it's better to have one or two services out there. I mean, I'm still slightly annoyed that you pay an Amazon. I know you get delivery as well, but I'm slightly annoyed that you pay an Amazon Prime subscription and so much of it is gated off anyway. You have to pay more.
Yeah, no, that's a common complaint.
You know, I'd be quite happy if Amazon. I mean, I'm linked to, because also I can have multiple users on Netflix. I share my Netflix ID with my mother. They use it, and in exchange I use their Amazon ID, so you can have family, you can have shared accounts on Amazon as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much locked off, and we're not. And the series that are on there, something else is so they want to charge you so much for it.
No, I
you know, a series that was like out 20 years ago, they want to charge you £20 for a digital copy. It's like,
I think one of the worst ones was when I went onto Google Play Store. And for a standard definition anime that had been out for something like 5 years prior, 5-6 years already, they wanted somewhere in the region of like £50 to £90 for it.
yeah,
Some really huge amount of money, because they'd managed to separate the entire season down into episodes, and each episode had a flat price. Yet you could go out and buy a Blu-ray collection of it for about £30. But they still somehow figured they could justify this digital download, under the kind of guise of convenience.
yeah.
It's convenient, therefore you will pay for it. It's like, no, there's a level where price trumps convenience.
Yes, yeah.
But again, they don't see this.
Yeah.
They all want a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and
we're all arguing over licenses.
at the same time, you can't all have a piece of the pie.
No.
You know, it's. I mean, with game studios tried it. You know, that's why you've got to end it with Uplay. Well, they still put that stuff on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, EA haven't, but they
buys EA games. That's
well, I don't. I've not. Last EA game I bought was Mass Effect 3.
Battlefield 3.
So I've not bought an EA game in a lot. I generally avoid EA.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. There aren't many publishers who I generally try and avoid, but EA is one of them. I just really don't like their business practices.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really annoyed that they own the license for Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
That really irritates me. They own that license. There aren't many. But I don't want to have free digital services using up processor power on my computer. You know, I've got Uplay, but that's not very intrusive, so I don't mind Uplay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it when it first started, but I don't mind it now. It's, you know, it doesn't really get in the way. I've got Steam. Steam, luckily, just being a bit dominant everything that most people. You'd be stupid. You're stupid to not put your game on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this day and age. I don't want to have thousands of digital platforms. Because the other thing is, Steam's refined. They've got a lot of years refining, getting it right.
The problem is, though, Steam is very big, and they are the Google of the games distribution.
Yeah.
Kind of industry, I suppose. And like you said, when Google decides to put the foot down and say, no, you're not fucking about with us, we're taking you away, people lose a lot of money. Same thing with games, man. If Gaben's like, the game's shit, I don't want you on my store.
Yeah. We are quite. I think we don't realise how lucky we are with Steam. The people who are running it are reasonably sensible.
New, because you got to remember it was only a couple of weeks ago that I was jumping up and down about visual novels being pulled from the store.
Yeah.
Now they're only now starting to let some of them come back.
Yeah.
But the ones that were pulled still can't.
I didn't say not totally sensible. I said reasonably sensible, but they still have blind spots.
That was a pretty.
But well, I mean, things like they introduced the idea, concept of Steam refunds. That was something that they didn't have to do.
No.
But they introduced that.
Never used it.
I've never had need to use it, but that's why I'm quite careful. Well, I'm generally speaking, I'm quite careful with game, or if the game's so cheap, I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, so the other thing is you have to play the game in 2 weeks to make it.
Yeah. Well,
The
trouble is, I know people who will abuse it now that it's there.
Yeah.
And they have done. They'll buy the game and they'll play it for however long, and then they'll get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, it's if any time you have any sort of generous system, people will abuse it, but you rely on the fact that more people won't.
Which is what the rest of the industry should do.
Yeah.
Rather than slapping people before
Yeah, it'd be very easy for Valve to turn around and say, well, as soon as you load the game, you can't refund it.
Mm.
Very easy, but they go, no, we'll accept the fact that some people will abuse it, but for the genuine users who don't abuse it, it's a good service for them. That's why we offer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same reason why most stores in the country offer a better refund policy than what you legally have to do. Because refund, if you actually read the law, what you're legally entitled to for refunds is very limited. What you're legally entitled, it's changed, it's got a bit better now, but until 3 years ago, pretty much if you bought something and changed your mind on it, tough. Well, that's still the case now. If you buy something, say, and 2 weeks later, actually, I don't really want to have my Zoom H1, I don't really want that. Tough. You can wash it, it's yours. You can't come home and take it back. Most stores, you know what, because they realise that, yes, people will abuse it, but those are a smaller minority than those who will make genuine use of it. So therefore, it's overall, for the greater good, it's better to do it this way. And Steam Refunds is a perfect example. The fact they've spent time developing stuff for Linux.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not something they had to do. And I think although Linux is now a market, it's not probably a big market for them in terms of percentage, although it's probably growing.
I think the Linux development comes purely from Gabe's fear of Microsoft locking everything down.
Yeah, that's probably part of it as well. But the fact is they didn't have to do that.
Well, no, he didn't, but then he's looking at the bigger picture, and that, you know, because not many companies look at the big picture. They're really looking at what can happen over the next. Because that's what we were saying. Most people don't look at the big picture when we were talking politics earlier before the podcast. What Valve have seen is, well, Microsoft aren't really going the right way about this, and they own the platform. We just happen to be able to install our platform on their platform. And they could lock us out if they wanted to. It would be stupid of them to do so, but they could.
It would, well, yeah, it'd be very stupid to do so. It would cause mass jumping of ship.
Yeah, but I know a lot of Windows users who just won't jump ship. They won't.
Something will push them over the edge.
Unless you were to put the gun in their mouth, they wouldn't jump ship. You could feed their children to fucking crocodiles and make them watch. They still wouldn't change. I know tons of Windows users who will not leave, even if all they use is a fucking web browser.
Hey, you got to love a bit of edge.
Well, it's just these people fucking. So to say that there will be something that push people over the edge, but the people would have to be nearly beaten to death before they change platform or before they move. Rather than doing what's best for them, they will literally just get beaten and abused daily until they're forced out.
If Microsoft locked out Steam, I'll jump ship. Something like that. I'll rely on Steam way too much, but if I just jump ship.
So what we're saying is Microsoft's main product, their main selling point is Steam.
For PC gamers, yes, it is. You know, it's yes. I mean, I don't know many PC gamers. I don't know any. I think I know a PC gamer who hasn't got Steam. And there must be some out there.
I know a few.
But
it's just the idea that we're now saying that, yeah, well, you know, fucking, they didn't have to do Linux.
No.
They didn't have to do Linux. It's like, well, they kind of do, because they're putting all their eggs in one basket if they didn't. That's just dumb. If they want to stay in business, they're going to have to branch out. Because Microsoft seem to think that they can push people around like they always have, because they're the ones that own the platform. And you know, as you said, it would take them banning Steam for you to leave Windows. That's a hell of a big thing.
Well, it is a big thing.
You know, they could. There's nothing else they could do that would make you leave.
I mean, they're pissing me off, but I think it's probably a case of salami tactics at the moment. little things that haven't blown up enough to make me go, screw this, I'm out of here. At the moment, that's just how it is. Yeah, I've not quite reached it, but yeah, Steam would be I wouldn't say it's the only thing. It's the one thing I can think of right now that I would instantly jump ship for. I mean, there might be something down the line that makes you go, I've had enough of this, I'm going elsewhere. But at the moment,
I guess I'm easier to trigger than most.
Yeah. Yeah.
If a company doesn't do what I want, they don't deserve my money.
Well, yeah, that's
They
probably
don't
actually
deserve my time or money.
that's probably actually not a bad. Well, I think that's just in general. I mean, in general, most companies, you know, if you're not happy the way a company treats you or the way it does things, unless they have you a bow that, say, for example, they make something that you need and only they can do it, and you're slightly stuck.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
No,
Unless people are talking like insulin or fucking
Yeah.
some kind of medical supplies, there is nothing
No,
that the average Joe
exactly.
human actually needs. They think they need it, but
Yeah.
they don't. Like my Steam library. I have a bigger Steam library than you and Bad put together,
Yeah.
yet I happily threw it away to move to Linux. It's largely inaccessible on Linux, but I was more than happy to just throw it away just to get away from Microsoft.
Yeah. To be fair, you do basically buy every game possible on Steam just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But then in saying that, when I moved over to Linux, I bought more games that I probably wouldn't have done because they supported Linux.
Yeah.
Because there were games I could play. For example, Civilization 6. I had very little interest in Civilization 6. It's an alright game. But I wouldn't have bought it had it not been on Linux, the platform that I was on.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to play something different. Hey, what do I play? Oh, Civ 6.
There we go.
It's not really my kind of groove, but it's here. I'll have a go.
Yeah. Right, shall we wrap up?
Yeah. Oh, the law thing.
Stupid.
Yeah. They can't police that. I don't understand how they can do it. Unless they could somehow check it before it becomes public. I don't know.
It's going to be one of those laws that's going to be.
They're going to break the internet. They don't understand.
Well,
how the
they
internet
semi
works.
have, of course, with the GDPR change. Have you noticed there are some sites you go on that say, sorry, you're from Europe.
No, I can't access them. There's loads of sites I can't access.
Sorry, you're from Europe, you can't view this. Why? Because we can't be GDPR. We are not. It's not worth. Because we're only little sites, not worth our
I
time.
was trying to go to
GDPR
I was trying to go to a guitar review site. Couldn't access
Yeah.
it because of the GDPR.
I hate the fact that now every site you go on says, by the way, we use cookies. Yeah, I know you fucking use cookies. Just I don't want to click accept every single time on every site I go on to.
Can I throw out there? Western Digital's the worst one for that. Because even if you accept it, I don't know if maybe it's just like the 3 machines that I use, but you go to Western Digital's website to browse the forums or something like that. Yes, okay, I accept. And then a percentage bar comes up. And it grinds, just like Windows 98, it gets like 99% that sits there for like 6 years. And then it'll go away. And then I'll close the fucking page. And then let's say that the next day I was like, oh yeah, I should probably go see if someone's replied to my message. Accept. I'm sat there waiting. And it does it every fucking time!
What's it doing? What is it doing?
I don't know!
What is it doing?
It's the only site, like every other site, you just click accept and it goes away.
All I can assume is that Western Digital put like a billion cookies on your browser, and when you say no, I don't want them, it goes, shit, I better delete them all.
Yeah, probably.
Give me a minute.
Hang on, don't look! Don't look! Look over there! Look over there!
Nothing to see here. There's no trackers here. Nothing to see here.
It's like, chugging away, chugging away, chugging away. Oh, look, a squirrel! Where? Oh, God. Did it. The internet is just broken.
Yeah.
It's all broken.
There comes a point where you need to stop protecting people and you start educating people.
Stop treating everyone like stupid. Stop allowing them to be stupid.
Yeah.
Stop trying to take
I mean,
control away from them.
We're talking about the internet here. We're not talking about an industrial shredder that you need to have gates around, stop people walking into it. We're talking about a website that may store a tracking cookie on your website. Let's face it, a website that doesn't care, is happy to track you as much as it wants, doesn't care, and will just either lie and say, and if you say accept, store it anyway.
Well, look at all those places where you tell them to the old do not track in the browsers, and it turns out that sites have the right to ignore that request from the browser.
Yeah.
And they do a lot.
Yeah.
Or the times that you say, I don't accept your cookies, and then there's still a Facebook like button there or something like that, and you're like, what? Go away. I don't know. I think the internet in its current form is broken. It's bloated. It's horribly bloated.
It's being broken more and more by legislation.
Oh yeah, sure. It is, yeah, sure. But I also think that people... Modern developers, pull your heads out of your ass, please. You're not artists. You're not making the sites any better by making an animated menu or autoplay video or loading the page with JavaScript.
I want to grab every website developer and I want to take them through and say, apart from a select few of you, I want to give you this one thing, this one simple phrase that you must remember whenever you design anything: function over form.
Nah, that's not
yes,
one of the things we've used.
I know you want to make a website that looks all pretty and dancing and so forth. Ultimately, though, I want to use it. Mm-hmm. It is a tool. You know, you wouldn't take a power drill and move the trigger to like underneath the handle because it looks better. Because it'd be a pain in the arse to use. Mm-hmm. Websites, I hate the trend of websites that we have. You go onto it and there's a big picture. Admittedly, our website does this as well, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, and then you have to scroll down.
Scroll down. There's another big picture. And you scroll down. There's another big picture. And if the navigation at the top, all it does is just scroll the page down somewhere else. Mm. That's bad enough on a desktop. On a mobile app, if you haven't put a mobile app version, it's my finger's hurting. My finger's hurting now.
Maybe they're just going to say you're too old, man. You're too old to get off the internet.
Just make it. Just make. I want when I go on a site, I want to find information from it. I don't want it to look flashy. You shouldn't be concerned. Your person in charge of design should be concerned about how the user going to use it, not concerned about I want a reward for this.
When it takes more bandwidth to load up 3 pages to check how much bandwidth I've used, right? When it uses more bandwidth to load those 3 pages than it does for me to download 1 Doom or 2 an MP3 album, you're doing it wrong.
No.
3 websites, or 3 web pages should not use more bandwidth than an entire game or an entire album.
Nope.
But shamefully, that's the way it's going. I think, didn't they say that the average website or average web page, is over 3 megs now or something to that effect? What the fuck? Why? It's mostly text and JavaScript.
Yeah, I was saying, and just make it easy. Just think about the person. I think about the person who just wants to use the site. Mm-hmm. Just make it simple and straightforward.
I started using command line browsers in the end because JavaScript doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So if the page doesn't load, I'm just like, oh well, it must be loaded with JavaScript. And if it's just text, it's like, bam, it's there. Read it. Done. It's fucking done.
There's half pages now where they actually have text on that's actually just incorporated into the picture. Mm. Oculus Rift is a perfect example of this. All their text is actually just in a picture. Yeah, you can't copy and paste it.
It's like Kindle books. I had a Kindle book that was literally just like it was like a JPEG. Each page was just a JPEG. You couldn't use the font resize or anything. It was fucking horrible.
How did that pass muster? Because I thought all Kindle books had to be verified and so forth. How did that get through the?
I don't know, but it's on the store. You couldn't change the formatting on it at all. It was a nightmare to read. If you had one of those tablet Kindles where you could do the pinch to zoom thing, the ones that were an actual Android tablet, I'm sure that would be fine because it would be smooth. But on one of their e-ink Kindles, you just couldn't. It was unreadable.
Squally websites do nothing but induce incoherent rage. You use buds to browse the web on a site with grades Amiga 2000. Try to find a good luck with that these days. Let's check the Twitch chat because there's nothing on Twitch.
No one likes us on Twitch.
No, which is weird because the first time we did it, we had all our viewers from Twitch.
Yeah.
It really varies. So, anyway, on that brief rant, we end up. So, if anyone wants to watch the SuffolkRam,
Skazz.
We'll see you in a fortnight. And it's the countdown to North Korea.
It's when we die.
Yeah. So until then, guys, see you next time.
Yeah.
Right.
Fucking bunch of wankers. Not coming onto the Twitch.